Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is August 25th, 2019. My name's Eric Peters, and joining me today, Mr. Daniel Curtis.
All right, Governor.
Oi!
All right, Governor.
Wanker!
Oi, wanker, get in the road.
Welcome Tom Ragan to the show.
Hello, Eric boy. How's it going, son?
What do you want? I'm
Well,
done with your
it's-
fucking games.
I want your boy. I'll treat him like one of my own.
Oh, do you?
Fucking Charlie. Fucking Charlie.
They call me Eyebrows.
Make the boy listen.
What about Mad Jake? Mad Jake.
The filth everywhere, Jake. Get in the car.
Hi, guys.
What you doing, you bomber clot?
We just did the whole show like that.
Well, that's that.
Whoa.
That's the getaway.
First mention of the game of the week this early for a very long time.
Let's start.
Mike was talking earlier in the week about us getting really quickly to a game, so we had to kind of beat it.
Paper Mario,
Yeah.
apparently.
Mario.
Ooh. Ooh.
I wasn't on that show, but you guys apparently were straight in there with Paper Mario.
I'm sure there was a reason.
Maybe it was just a slow news week.
I think that was the time that you had too much pib extra and you had to rush off to the toilet.
How about that picture from Jonathan Yasovich?
That was a
On
good
the
one.
Facebook community.
Yes.
It was a good one.
Eric's head ascending out of the volcano with the pib extra on Link's shield.
From the Link's Awakening cover. Oh, my God.
Our community it's become a thing.
We don't have Pib Extra here. Well, I've not found it anyway.
Oh,
which is
Tom.
sad because I really like Dr. Pepper.
I will send you a can.
Yeah?
Yeah. Or just drive yourself
Can or
down to...
can?
Actually, it's actually kind of difficult to find at times. I was going to say drive yourself down to Buffalo.
I was going to say maybe Buffalo has there's a Target on the border. Can I get it in Target?
I've never seen it in a Target.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
I thought Target did food and drink
if anybody
as well.
knows if it's in a store, it's Eric Peterson.
How has this become a thing?
Because it's hilarious.
I don't think we've explained
I don't
this.
think we've mentioned this on the show, but recently in our WhatsApp group, we have determined that Eric goes to the store every single fucking day, sometimes twice.
The sad thing is...
And I'll be honest. I noticed when we were down in Arizona, we went. I think most of the holiday was spent going to the store
he's not wrong.
for one reason or another. Like, I'm still laughing at it because I picture it on it. Like, it's just, you're lying in bed on a night and then it's complete darkness. And then you just see your eyes light up and you just go, but we're low on cheese. And you just run out of the house.
I will admit we do go to the store far too often.
You guys aren't
really
big on
do.
the huge shop, right? On the big grocery shop.
We are, but
Or
not
do you just top up?
usually. We usually do the big Costco run. And we tried it. You know what? After you guys gave me enough shit last week, I sat down and I made a huge list of here are all of the dinners that we're going to have this week. And and Christy went out and did all the shopping on Sunday. We still went to the store every fucking day.
Really?
Yes.
Every day?
Every day.
Because there was one thing you were missing, or was it just...
Yeah, I'm not used to this planning ahead thing.
Oh, okay, got it.
But I think I know where it stems from, though, because Christy's dad was like that. They used to live, I don't know, a block and a half from a grocery store, even closer than I live. And her dad would go back to the store sometimes, and I've seen this firsthand, 2, sometimes 3 times throughout the course of making dinner.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh.
You have problems. Like, I try to spend as little time as I can in a supermarket.
You don't say Dan not spending money.
No, I buy food. Food is pretty essential.
Is it
Yeah.
though? Is it?
Yes. Yes.
You know what you need to buy is some brand new curtains for your child's playroom.
I do not. They are excellent.
Is that a curtain?
It looks like a kid's
good.
bed sheet.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure what it was. I've been looking at
They
it for
are
a
IKEA's finest, my friends.
Were those up when you got the house?
They were, yes.
while. And you just think,
This was clearly
fine, that works.
a child's bedroom, and as a child at heart, I thought, well, I will.
Nice
embrace the
excuse. I mean, yeah, nice excuse,
Oh.
but they are kids' dinosaur pine tree stegosaurus curtains.
they are, and they are awesome.
brilliant.
But just because we're adults does not mean we can't have quirky curtains.
That's fair.
That's a good point.
And at least it's in your. It's in
Maybe
that.
your curtains are just really dull.
Like, I would find it strange if that was in your lounge.
I wouldn't.
Welcome to our
Wait
home.
until you see what's down there. That's the spaceship one.
You know what, Dan? I'm going to make you a new set of curtains for your game room.
It's going to be an American flag, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good point. I had something else in mind, but
Oh man, can I have Eric's head cartoon ones?
don't tempt me.
No, yeah.
If anybody wants to make that on the Facebook community this week, that would be just lovely.
Eric's head replacing replacing every star on the flag. So 50.
I mean,
50 heads.
I think that's blasphemy.
See this bit down here. Yeah, this could be an Eric's head. Like, just-
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's true.
I blame you
no.
for the prevalence of my head.
I blame me for the prevalence of your head as well, but it's a marvelous.
It's a feature now. It's
You-
been a feature
you have
for a
officially,
year.
I would say, achieved meme status.
Within a small group of 350 people.
Yes, those are rabid people.
Slowly growing though.
Eric's.
Hey, if it went globally viral, think of the exposure that would bring to the show.
Yeah.
I believe we are actually up to 400 members now. Actually,
Oh,
Really?
God, are we?
That was
believe so.
quick.
Was it?
Very impressive.
Was it?
and most of them are just lurkers in the background.
407.
So if you are a lurker,
But
should interact.
283 of those are bots that I purchased. So
okay.
the numbers are a bit skewed.
I think we've already got one listener now, right? Mike's got rid of the rest.
And then we got rid of him.
Yeah, Mike's not here.
Oh,
Should probably
that-
just,
what about that guy? Where's he gone?
10 minutes
He hasn't
in,
been here for a
should probably say
while,
that.
has he?
He's on his show vacation that he regrets.
Yeah, he very much wanted to be here today, but he has another engagement.
He typically
He's
takes 3 shows off at the end of the summer. And after the first show off, he's like, well, I miss being on the show, so I'll try to come back.
It's a depressing turn of events when he misses us, isn't it?
So there is an open slot.
Submit your applications to factory-sealed@manatank.com.
Can you imagine
Send
if
us-
we did application forms, what they would be like?
Send us your audition videos.
How many brain
Here's a
cells
pro
have
tip.
you
If
got?
you are not straddling, it will not be considered.
Resume photo is just a paper clipped on the corner of someone's
as Dan's looking at it, he's like, nope, this one's 1080. Nope, this one's 1080. Nope, this one's 1080. I only accept things in stretched 480i.
Yes, I do. And if you want to get through the Eric part of the interview, you need to coat yourself in bubble wrap and take a nice photo of yourself.
Oh my God, I would love to see people's audition tapes to be on the show.
just be the best.
Wagwan! Y'all read.
Oh, wanker! You'll read.
Hold your boiled owls.
How many
I'm applying to be the next member of the show.
how many references can you cram into one 30-second audition tape?
Yeah. You just need the factory seal bingo card and you can start from there.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, what happened? What happened to that? Where's that going?
I'm
don't know,
still
but it-
salty about that.
Why?
We put so much
never
effort.
used it, did we?
No, because I lost it.
He's such a goon.
What do you mean?
Dan and
You
I.
lost it?
Oh God, we spent like 2 hours one day just coming up with as many references.
Oh, wow, that's such a lengthy period of time.
2 whole hours,
Don't
guys.
push the work. Don't push the boat out on your work. Jesus Christ! I'm gonna sweat on just thinking about it.
God forbid. Put some damn effort into the show. Oh, the injustice. I spent 2 whole hours on that thing. No one...
I've taken longer dumps.
No shit! And I've cleaned up longer dumps of yours. Yes, we spent 2 whole hours coming up with a list. Are you okay, Dan?
He's not.
2 hours coming up with a list of as many show references as we could for the bingo card and organizing it, and then somehow it just disappeared. The gaming
What a
gods
fucking
of
waste
the
of time.
No shit.
I think if we redid it though, we'd have millions more now, because I'm pretty sure this was before the boiled owl incident. We don't see the point incident.
I think it was before. No, was it after Driver? Yeah, because we did Driver last year.
Yeah, it was. Jeez, there's so many now.
I know, but if anybody wants to submit an audition tape, I think it'd be fucking hilarious.
I don't think we'd get through the selection process if we did it.
Here's the criteria to be on this show, and even we don't fit the criteria.
You just pretty much got to be a bit of an idiot. You've got to have various daft traits which other people can make fun of. And
You've got to be willing to
you've got
spend
be able to
hours on
invent
features that will never go
catchphrases.
live.
You have
And
to be able to
catchphrases.
sacrifice it up to 2 hours in one shot. And be okay if that yields no results.
Yeah. You got to be willing to put your heart and soul into a new idea, only for it to get completely shit on by the other 3 guys.
That does sound about right.
If you have any sort of self-confidence, you will not fit.
Yeah.
I woke up the other day because these lot shouldn't on during the night. Mike gets up ridiculously early. These 2 are awake, and I just wake up to it like about 100 messages just taking the piss out of me. I just went and cried for like an hour.
What were we talking about?
I don't even know. I can't remember. I'm just used to it now. I just bypass it.
Oh, well, I guess that's me now.
Dan, did you see that
I started
found...
reading it, but I was taking more than 5 minutes, and I was sweating by like a pregnant nun by that point, and I had to put the phone down because it was too much work.
I went to a Goodwill store a couple of days ago, and I found 2 Wii U games, and they were $1.50 each.
Ooh.
One was Mario Kart 8.
That's what you were giving me shit about
And
when
one
I
was
saw my Wii.
Super Luigi
U.
U, whatever it is. And I don't have a Wii U, but I just bought them because they were cheap. And I put the picture on WhatsApp and I said, I don't have a Wii U. Dan, if you want, I can set... Oh, wait, you sold your Wii U console.
That's right. We were getting so much shit because we have a lot of GameCube games coming up. And we're all...
It's a good job the Wii U doesn't play them then.
Yeah, well... No, I'm sorry. We had Wii games coming up.
Yeah.
And we were giving you shit because you couldn't find your Wii. I'm like, well, you should have kept your Wii U so you could have played those in glorious HDMI output. Oh, you sold
Yeah, but
it.
that wouldn't help me when I need to play the GameCube games, would it?
That's why you buy a GameCube.
You told me not to and buy the shit for my Wii.
Did you find your Wii in the end?
No, I don't know where it is. I'm 100% convinced I've never sold my Wii. I don't know where it is. I've found the Wiimote and the nunchuck and all of the cables for plugging into the Wii, but the console itself has just went.
You know what the best thing to do is, Dan? Just keep all your shit hooked up at all times.
Yeah.
There's not room in here. It's not room.
Get a bigger house.
I'm trying.
So are you just going to get a new one? Because they're really cheap. You can pick them up cheap.
I think I'm probably going to have to like £20. So
Yeah,
it should be all right.
I found one in the same Goodwill.
I'll probably have to
for
get it from
$20.
Sweaty CEX, and it'll come covered in shit and semen and various other body fluids. And
Right? Who knows what people do with this stuff? Like when you pick up a game in a used store.
Is this wee toilet paper?
Oh man, that was the worst part about working at GameStop was you'd see just these scuzzy people come in with just plastic bags full of games. You're like, well, I'm going to need to sanitize myself after this. Like, you just never know what's going to be in there when you open it up, like cigarette butts and old garbage.
Yeah. And
at
then
CEX, I believe they are not allowed to open the bag for you now. So you have to open the bag for yourself.
what?
Oh,
That's
I always
weird.
made people do that regardless.
In case it's full of like syringes and
Oh, Christ.
various diseases.
The worst, though, is when they would come up and they would just take the bag and upend it, and it would just dump and scatter all over the
No.
counter. Oh, yeah.
Come on. I have seen... I understand. I think this... I've seen in CEX that there are people in just clearly in desperate situations where they're just trying to offload all their stuff. But you also have to feel for the guy having to serve them because they're having to handle just the worst stuff. Like it looks really...
Yeah, you could definitely tell, like, yep, this is
sticky
going to
and-
go to drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
I
they-
mean those shops just smell depressing. Even
Yeah.
when you go in, it smells like teenagers, but they haven't discovered the joys of Lynx yet.
I think I told you guys
That's Axe for
once
you
that
in
I saw,
America, Eric.
I saw someone...
Axe body spray.
Oh, yeah. I think I told you guys that I saw somebody trade in like a mountain of PS2 DVDs and stuff like that. And the guy
Give you
offered
$1.
£20 store credit or £9 cash, and he took the cash. And I was like, oh, dude. Like,
I've been known to, when I'm in a GameStop and I see somebody trading some shit in, I'll scope out what they've got and then I'll just pay him cash for it while it's sitting on the counter.
yeah.
One guy had
Yeah.
a bunch of PS4 games. I'm like, dude, I'll give you $20 if you let me choose 4 of those, because he was only going to get like $60 for, I think it was probably 15 different games.
Yeah.
So I made sure I chose what I knew were the most expensive games in there. And as I wish I would have known what his store credit would have gone down to, but I guarantee I came out on the better end of that.
Someone traded in Final Fantasy 13 when I was working at the store, and it had only been out for a couple of days, and I didn't have it yet, so I just put it under the counter. I was like, I'll just buy that when my shift ends.
Yes. You could always tell the people that were trading in shit that was stolen too.
Oh, yes.
We had one guy that it never failed. Every Tuesday, because first games used to come out on Tuesdays, and every Tuesday afternoon, he would come in with that week's latest releases to trade in. And you could tell he had just stolen them from a different store, and he's coming over here and he's like, yep, cash. Like, oh, all right. I mean, fill out your information.
Yeah.
But just, he never came in to buy anything. Never once saw him in the store to purchase anything. Just selling shit.
I had somebody come in and say, hey, did I leave my bag here with the CDs and poster I bought? And I look around and I'm like, can't see it. And then half an hour later, some guy come in with the CDs and the poster, and he's like, I want to refund this. And I was like, oh, I know you didn't buy these, but I'm also not the law, so I can't do much. But what I did was
Tom, you are the law. You are Sheriff Tom Reagan, and you
I
should have
took my sweet,
busted his ass
sweet
right
time.
downtown.
I took my sweet time with the return, like as in I just went really, really slowly and just pretended that I wasn't able to open the cash register and stuff like that. Like, oh, I got to wait for the key. Oh, I've got to wait for someone to approve it. And he just got so like antsy about it that he just left.
Did he leave the stuff?
Yeah. I did not want to give him the money because he'd stolen it. And he was threatening me and stuff. And I was like, nah. You
Try
you
it.
piece of shit. Yeah.
Have we
That
all
damn
worked
it.
in a game store? Has Mike worked in a game store?
I don't think Mike has.
No. I
Some
don't
of
think
the-
so.
Some of the best times of my life right there.
There were some funny times, yeah.
Especially if your game store's in a mall. Malls just generate some weird things. It's like this magnet for oddities.
In the mall?
Oh yeah.
Why is it different?
It's just people that go to hang out at a mall are
Oh,
yeah. Especially
Yeah.
the town where I was wasn't a whole lot to do. And
Okay.
especially during the winter, people would just go hang out at the mall. And it wasn't
Yep.
really a very high scale mall. Like, the ones we went down here in Phoenix, they're really nice. They're big. They're sprawling. Nope. This one was Valley View Mall and in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And there was a grand total of like 50 stores in there, or 50 locations for stores, and like 14 actual stores in there. It was depressing.
Yes. That's I've been to a few malls like that around here. I know exactly the sorts of ones. And like the stores that do survive are like dollar stores and these weird
Off-brand
like clothing things.
baby hats and cell phones
I found
and
that so
such.
strange when I was over
Yeah.
there, because just over here we just don't really have that kind of like a strip of like 5 shops anywhere.
Oh, I'm not
Just
talking about a strip
everywhere in
mall.
Phoenix.
I'm talking about like an actual
right. Yeah.
mall, like you
Same.
go inside a mall with anchor stores.
But yeah, malls are huge here, but they're not much of a thing. I mean, they are, but there's not many in the UK compared to here. They're everywhere here.
Oh, that last one that you and I went to, I can't even remember where it was, but that last game shop that we went into, that mall was depressing.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean when I'm talking about that's probably similar to maybe the mall in Wisconsin, maybe.
No, ours wasn't that bad. I mean,
Okay.
growing up, the mall in town was hopping. It was great.
Okay.
Here in Phoenix, we actually have, I think, Metro Center Mall was the first 2-story mall in the country. That place is scuzzy now. It is real bad.
But I think
Oh, we've got a Metro Center up here.
But I think probably all malls were healthier back then, pre-internet.
Oh, yeah. The decline of brick and mortar has started. And I noticed it yesterday when I went into GameStop. I went and bought a Mega Man figurine. And
Shocking.
Shocking.
I think they have more toys in there than they do video games.
Oh yeah, they're all about
Yeah.
that extra profit now.
When
They make next to nothing on sales of new games, so
Yeah, but they're used games they're making mountains on.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know. I don't know. Do people really go in them anymore? I mean,
I'm not sure how they're
if I ever
surviving.
see a game, then they're not particularly busy.
Well, didn't GameStop just have a massive layoff of their regional managers?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're doing a complete restructure.
Like 50 people, I think it was.
I think it was
in
over.
senior
I
positions.
thought it was over 100.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, they have, it's EB Games here in Canada, which I think is basically GameStop. It looks the same anyway, exactly the same inside. It's just,
I wonder if that's what became of. So we used to have in the UK, used to have Electronics Boutique.
Yes,
You remember that,
EB
Tom?
Games.
yeah. So
Yeah,
Electronics Boutique actually owns Game, but is branded as
okay.
Game. It's weird. There was a whole thing. But it's basically mugs, blankets, figurines, pop figures, just loads of stuff, basically.
I don't know
games
if
are
you guys had this
secondary.
at the game shops you worked at, but when I was at GameStop, there was very definitely expectations about selling items per transaction, and you want to make sure you sell more than one item per transaction to a customer, and reservations and subscriptions. Those are the two big things. But I think now they have this expectation of you need to be selling X amount percentage of toys and collectibles versus this amount of games. And
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
I
apparent.
mean, they had it. I mean, I only worked there for a seasonal stint, so I was only there for like 2 months or so. But they were certainly trying to flog Xbox Live subscriptions and their loyalty cards and things like that. So you kind of had to try and sell them.
I was there for
as you were
2
selling things. I
years.
just didn't used to bother because I knew it was like 2 months, and then I knew it like within a month that GameStation was basically going under. So I was like, well,
The reservation thing used to
So
it used to actually have a little bit of merit to it because at least maybe in my small town where there weren't a lot of stores that actually sold games, but back before gaming was as huge of a market, I mean, it's always been really large, but I would argue that today it's vastly larger than it was 15 years ago. You wouldn't have infinite releases of every copy of every game. So reserving games actually was kind of sensical at that point. But towards the end of my time there, I realized, like, you know what? No, it's not going to be that hard to get a game. Go to the store, buy it.
I always remember, right, it was really, really difficult to get Grand Theft Auto Vice City over here.
Yes.
I had to wait weeks to get a copy.
Oh, yes.
Wow. And
I remember that.
I was absolutely furious
The
about
shelves
it.
were
And then
cleared
I
of that
remember,
game.
like, my mum had went out to the shops one Saturday and she came back with it and I was like, yes!
Yeah.
See, that's why I go to the shops as often as I do, because I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
Honestly, you couldn't find it anywhere over here.
That game was so
completely sold
huge.
out.
I think
It was
the
so huge.
only game in recent memory that I've really struggled to find a copy of was Nio.
Oh.
Oh, really? Mine was Persona 5.
I was about to say
And that was
Persona 5
Which
as
is so
well.
weird because that was literally everywhere here.
In the UK,
I know you
it was
said
rare.
it really irritated me. I could not get it anywhere, and I really wanted it.
I
I
had
couldn't
to.
find Tetris Effect for the longest time either.
I bought a game yesterday that was turning out to be quite harder to find than I thought. I bought A Plague Tale: Innocence, and
That's a Plague Tale Innocence for anybody who speaks normally.
Plague. What's wrong with the way I say plague?
It's exactly how you say vag.
Plague.
A Plague Tale.
Plague Tale.
Best Buy's here, you can check to see what their inventory is, and the one that we were going to go to said it had one, and I couldn't find it. And I don't know how Best Buy has made it this far in selling video games with the disorganization that is their video game section. I can't stand it when they face the games forward instead of being able to read the spines. But then they'll alphabetize it accordingly. Like they'll have the A's and then some of the B's behind it, and then the next row will be B's with some C's behind, and just things get all shuffled up. And I demolished their PS4 section looking for that copy of Plague Tale. Absolutely destroyed. Like everything was flipped forward and just completely out of
throwing
place.
the games behind you as you try to.
Well, I was flipping through it normally, and then I just started grabbing stacks
Old woman
of them.
in the background getting hit by PS4
I
boxes.
started grabbing stacks and just turning them sideways to read the spine. I'm like, nope, not it.
Was it under A or P?
Well, it ended up being exactly where it should have been. I was just being dumb.
Oh, okay.
Because their organization method, like where it was supposed to be, or where I thought it was supposed to be in their cycle, I misread where the break was going to be. But I found the tag, and it was behind the tag, so technically I wasn't wrong.
Gotcha.
It was in the wrong spot. But
Yeah.
let me tell you about that game, Tom. Woo, buddy. That game's intense.
I've had it sealed for a while now.
I actually really struggled with opening it because I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those games that down the road is going to be very difficult to find.
Yeah.
Not many places actually sell it. This is actually only the third time I've ever seen a physical copy in a store.
Yeah.
But
Is that not because it's shit?
no, quite the contrary, actually.
No, it's just a bit under the radar. I think it came out during... There were probably other big releases that came out at the time, and it just kind of got lost.
Yeah, it's kind of across the board, anywhere from 8 to 9.5 for reviews. But it's a action adventure / horror stealth game that takes place during the Inquisition, and it's all about the plague. And you play as Amicia, who witnesses her entire family's brutal murder because her little brother has this disease, and her mom was working on a cure and has apparently found a way to at least stop it from being contagious. And
Is it Kragsvag?
I think so. Unfortunately, the little boy's name is Hugo, so it'd be missed opportunity there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but he might have contracted it from Craig. It might be a revelation later on.
I don't think Craig is
that's
a
why
very...
It's called that's why it's called a plague tag, a plague tale, innocence.
I don't think Craig is a very French name, though, because this takes place in France.
Craig could have traveled.
But I only played the first chapter of it last night. Tom, this game is just right up your alley.
And that's as much as he will ever play.
No, this one is something like Christy and I are going to play through this together. She was sat next to me. You know how girls get when they're nervous or frightened. Like she had her hands up over her face and like her knees up to her chest. Like it's really, really tense. There's not a lot of action to it, but it's very stealth based. But it's really good stealth in that you're causing distractions, and you know the person that you're escorting, your little brother, he's not completely helpless, but you have to take into account his condition and how that's going to affect him. So if you leave him sit for too long, like he'll start to panic because he needs the comfort of his family around him to help keep his symptoms of his condition under control. It's
very cool.
Super brutal too. Oh, it is violent. Game looks gorgeous too. It's voice acting top notch. It's very similar to Senua's Sacrifice in that there's really no HUD, and it's all completely seamless between action and cutscene narrative.
Awesome.
I don't really want to say too much more about it, mainly because I haven't played a ton, but shit, it is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons I got it, was I thought it would be a good one to play with Kat, because it's a kind of a good narrative experience that both people can enjoy, even if you're not playing it. So, and it's
nicely broken up. The first chapter was really only about 25 minutes, so I think we're just going to do like a chapter a night and just kind of click through it.
Nice, very cool. I shall open it.
Speaking of really good narratives, though, Tom, which is a beautiful segue, by the way. I have to say I have absolutely loved playing Detroit Become Human. That is such a good game.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad you loved it that much.
Yeah, it was by far the best game that Quantic Dreams produced.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
Yeah.
Didn't descend into metaphysical nonsense by the end. So
No.
You weren't fighting invisible digital bugs? Were you having relations with corpses?
Didn't get attacked by furniture at any point?
No sex with dead people?
I'm really glad
Didn't have a Matrix fight at any point?
I'm really glad they brought it back from what happened with Beyond Two Souls, because they kind of lost their way with that one. It had some good ideas, but it was definitely one of their weakest games. And
I was at the E3 where you finally got to play Beyond, and I remember being with I think I was with Kevin, and we got there early because we're like, all right, this Quantic or the Sony booth with Quantic Dream is going to be packed. So when the doors opened, we sprinted to the Sony booth to get in line. We still had to wait about 20 minutes, but they were very particular in how they showed that, because they didn't show much of the goofiness towards the end of it. It was really deceiving too.
It did kind of descend into nonsense, that one.
Which is bad. Too bad, because I like Ellen Page.
Yeah, I mean, it had like really good actors in it. It had Willem Dafoe in it, and didn't it, and all kinds of people. I saw over the week, Eric, that there were at Gamescom this year. They actually had the demo of Final Fantasy VII.
No,
playable on the floor.
Oh my god!
So
I think that's only a matter of time then before they release it for us to play.
Yeah, but honestly, mate, like I know I have the biggest Final Fantasy VII boner in the world, as we all know, but I think it's going to be really good. All the previews, everybody's been saying how amazing it feels to play.
Oh, dude,
I'm
beyond excited for it. I know I give a lot of shit about saying 8's better than 7, but I think the reimagining is going to be phenomenal, and I'm really glad they went that route instead of just a straight like shot for shot remake of the original game, because
I just the people can't get past this message. Like they're going, oh, but the first part's only in Midgar. It's coming on 2 Blu-ray discs.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's 50 plus hours.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I'm happy with that.
I am totally okay with there being a high profile Final Fantasy release every year for the next 5 years. because once they have the engine and the combat and everything down, it's just clipping through. But I think what's going to suck though is that the series here will see 2 generations of console.
Oh, 100%. I very much think that next year, obviously, it's coming out next March, but if all things are to be believed, we're getting the new consoles holiday 2020. So it's going to bridge that gap and probably be re-released for the PS5. Or I don't know if the PS5 is going to just up-res PS4 games.
Well, it is. It has been confirmed to play PS4 games, so I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that's something else that Sony has against Microsoft. We're kind of, as we're getting into this next generation of consoles, it's kind of, I don't know, has it happened before where they both release at exactly the same time?
Yeah, didn't Xbox and PS4 release at the same time, or was that PS4 a year earlier?
I think they might have been a few months apart.
Yeah, maybe really
I can't
close.
remember, but I think obviously both have their merits. I know Xbox is going for Game Pass and things like that, but I think if Sony comes out of the gate with, I'm pretty sure they're going to launch with Last of Us 2 for the PS5.
Could you imagine if they would have launched with Final Fantasy VII?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Oh my God.
But they've still got the exclusivity to that.
Have they?
So, yeah. So its launch is first as PS4, but they have not at any point said yet that it's going to come to Xbox.
Which is strange because Final Fantasy is now a staple on other consoles.
Yeah, well, I guess Sony paid for the rights for it. It's how they do it with like Call of Duty. They get exclusive content now and things and stuff like that. But then we've got Death Stranding this year, but Sony's still got potentially things like Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Ghost of Tsushima. That's still to come out.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
The Last of Us 2, obviously, there is a potential for Insomniac to be working either on Spider-Man 2 or perhaps a new Ratchet and Clank.
Oh.
That would be cool.
Because we haven't had a Ratchet and Clank game for a while now. I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah, like a true brand new one, because the latest one was just a reimagining of the first.
That
Which
was so
it was
good,
still
though.
great.
Unless they do the second. I mean,
I had
Yeah,
a lot of fun with that.
I don't know. I'd rather.
my favourite was always Ratchet and Clank 3, where you had the spaceship hub and things, and that was cool. I liked that one.
Ratchet and Clank 3?
Don't think I remember that one. Tools of Destruction was a good one.
I liked Crack in Time better because you could fly around space.
Yeah, Crack in Time was good. I'm talking about the original 3.
Oh, okay.
They weren't called 1, 2, and 3 here. It was Ratchet and Clank, and then it was Going Commando, then Up Your Arsenal.
Yeah, we had different names for that. I can't remember. They were definitely called Ratchet and Clank 2 and Ratchet and Clank 3, but then had a subtitle, but it wasn't as risque.
Was it
as
2E and 3E?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I'm just checking.
I'm surprised that the American one would have had Up Your Arsenal, because you guys don't say arse.
Well, that was the joke because they wanted to get something risky in there.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Get it done.
I see what they did there.
Guys, I finished a game this past week.
You finished Spirit Tracks.
Oh boy, did I.
The apocalypse is coming. Batten down your hatches.
I finished Spirit Tracks out of sheer force of will. There was zero.
God, I'm so sick of you going on about this shit all the time.
There was zero enjoyment in the last 5 hours of that game.
I know, and I told you to stop playing it. You didn't need to finish it.
No, because then 2 years from now, I'd be like, God damn it, it's still the one top-down Zelda game I have not beaten. I need to finish this.
Have you been Oracle of Ages?
I think... Nope, haven't beat that one. Okay, I've got one.
All right, well, crack on with that.
Actually,
then.
that's what I'm playing
off you
right
go.
now.
Play that one instead, because that one is better, I
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
What Oracle of Seasons, have you done that one?
Shit, I got 2 more. But those aren't true, like, in... Oh, I suppose they are. They weren't developed by Nintendo, though.
Play Zelda 2 again. That was a good one.
Jesus Christ, I'd rather play Zelda 2 again after Spirit
Seriously?
Tracks. Oh, dude, Spirit Tracks was so boring. It was one of the most dull, boring games I've ever played.
Wow.
And I used a guide for the last 6 hours just to straight pound through it, and it was boring.
Damn.
I got to the end of it and I'm like, well, I'm going to put this in the case and it will never come off my shelf ever again.
Well, that sounds like an excellent one to add to the list of games to play for next year. Just Eric.
I will burn this show to the ground.
I may as well keep my streak of shit going for the next year.
God, that's
I know
a
there are
shame.
people in our community that have disagreed and said that Spirit Tracks was phenomenal, but it's not. Put up next to all of the other Zelda games. Phantom Hourglass is great because you had the boat and you could go pretty much wherever you wanted. This one, you were on a train and you were stuck to the tracks and it took fucking forever to get anywhere and it was boring. The dungeons were dull. The Spirit Tower with having to have Zelda inhabit different phantoms, it was so boring. I'm so glad I'm done with it.
Damn.
I'm glad you're done with it so you can stop talking.
Maybe
about
I should start it over so I can keep talking about it to you.
it. Enjoy yourself, crack on.
No,
By all
never.
means.
I will not put myself through that punishment, but I am proud of myself for finishing it.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
amazed.
in my opposition, sometimes I am proud of myself for finishing games for the show, and then, even though they are so dire, but you get to the end, like Zelda 2, for example. I really didn't like it, but I got to the end, and it felt good.
Yeah, I admire
But I now
your
know for a
persistence.
fact that I never want to play it again.
for both of you because I really struggle if I hate something. I struggle.
Oh, really, Tom?
Yeah.
Let me have a quick
you ever heard of
flashback
Kingdom
to when we were
Hearts?
playing a certain game called Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. What's another one that
just-
Tom has just shit all over and refused to finish? Some of us have dedication to
No.
this show, Tom.
No, not many.
Isn't
There's
that
not
pretty
many.
much all of them?
There's not many. There's not many games I've thought I felt that. Okay,
What's the last game you finished for the show? Like,
Let's have a look, shall we?
finished.
Should we have a look?
I'm pulling up the planner right now. I don't think you have finished one this year.
I have. Of course I
you?
have.
Oh, you finished
So-
Halo. I think Halo would be it.
That was a while back.
No, I finished The Force Unleashed.
Did you finish Fable?
No, I didn't finish Fable.
Oh.
I got pretty far, but I did not finish it.
What about our summer
Didn't give a
RPG?
shit.
Did you finish that one?
What, Kingdom Hearts? Hell no.
Hell no.
I spent 10 hours on it and that was enough of my life that I lost to that shit show.
I have finished every game on the schedule this year. Oh, wait, nope, take that back. Sorry, I did not complete the shit pile that was Ghostbusters.
You didn't complete Gex either.
Yeah, I did. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. Fuck that
No,
game.
we both didn't.
Sorry, I retract previous statement.
We both didn't because it was
So
it
bad.
Was too bad.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
So we each year,
You're
this is
welcome.
another thing
I put them on the list to make sure that I'm not on that show, just so you can enjoy it.
Dan's on a great track of picking stellar games that are short.
Yes.
This year he's picked
You have 2 weeks to play them.
yeah,
The thing
some
is,
of us have
we have picked
kids.
some bad games though.
Yeah, you just said you finished more games than all of us.
But Dan, let's look at this. You have 4 picks this year, and so far I'm going to go out on a limb and say that one of them is good. And that was Symphony of the Night.
That's I still stand by the same with yours. They were rubbish.
No way. No way.
Just Cause was terrible.
That was last year, so shut up. Chronicles of Riddick was excellent. Fable
No, it
was
wasn't.
excellent. The Mark of Kree is
No, it
going to
wasn't.
be excellent.
No, it isn't.
Super Mario Galaxy will be the tip of the nipples. That might be the best game we've played on the show in the past 2 years.
Well. I
Which
think
one?
I'm going to redeem myself because I
Mario
think
Galaxy.
you will be pleasantly surprised by Project Eden and Batman Arkham
Oh
Asylum
boy.
will be
Oh
marvelous.
boy. Tom and I have been watching some trailers for Project Eden, and oh buddy. I'm glad we get to spend 17 hours in there.
Enjoy yourself.
Oh my god, Dan. Maybe we should just substitute it with Okami, followed immediately by Earthbound, because
Oh,
those are
God.
short.
Sorry, but I've been saying it all week. We are dedicated to the cause, and we cannot just play games which are good.
I just don't.
Which is why
I don't think you know the difference, though.
I do. I just want to play these games again. So I
Again,
can
you've
decide for
played this
myself
game
whether they are
before,
shit
and
or
you're
not.
still recommending it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Well, there
I
you
am
go.
going to isolate that sound clip. It is really good, and we will play that back.
I'm telling you, it has a really cool setting and things like that. I don't know how it's aged gameplay-wise, but
Or
I really
visually.
enjoyed the story. It's PS2.
Yeah, that looks like it's maybe NES.
Are you sure you looked at the right game?
Yeah,
Whereas the Getaway looks stellar.
but played like shit. What else do we have this? Before we get into the Getaway, is there anything else we need to cover news-wise? Oh, last week, Mike talked about, or last show, Mike wasn't on, 2 shows ago? Whatever show he was on, he was talking about the Switch upgrade program. Do you remember him talking about that?
Yeah.
Apparently that's not a
One
thing.
that's absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. No,
Apparently that
can't
is
do it
not
anymore.
a thing.
I'm not surprised it's not a thing, to be fair.
Which is strange, though, because it was reported on Polygon, which is a very reputable news
Yeah.
outlet. So the
Yeah.
program,
maybe Nintendo did a 180 and decided, no, we don't want to do that.
the program they were talking about was if you had recently purchased a Switch and wanted to upgrade to the new model, you could send yours back and then pay a difference of like $75 or something and get the new model. Apparently that's not a thing.
Not going to do it.
Not gonna do it. Thanks for your dollar, dues.
Yeah.
So you know the Switch Lite, right?
The light
The
switch?
Switch Lite. Yeah, why isn't it called the Light Switch?
We talked about that.
Isn't that just a missed opportunity?
It is. I agree.
When does that come out?
So
Because
dumb.
I'm actually kind of intrigued.
Of course you are.
What would be good is to get each color sealed. I know. And just have them like in a row. Just kind of.
I didn't like Eric's eyes when you said that.
I heard sealed.
Something just happened in the downstairs department.
Oh man, like the Game Boy,
his
like the
webcam's
Game Boy
been attacked
colors,
by a ghost.
Oh yeah.
or the N64 different colors.
Exactly.
Comes out September 20th. Oh, guys, wait! Speaking of Final Fantasy, I meant to segue into this next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. Oh, buddy, it's going to be the best gay day. The best gay. There we go. That's for you.
The best game.
You say the best game / day. It's
gonna be the best
So we came
gay
out with
ever.
gay. Best gay ever.
Yes. Do you know what, Eric? I watched a trailer for Final Fantasy VIII Remastered yesterday,
I'm still hard.
and I hadn't actually seen it yet. I just hadn't got around to it, and I thought, oh no, I'm gonna jump back in, aren't I?
Oh, I'm 100% jumping in.
Are you actually?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man, yeah,
I
it
want
looks really
to, but
good.
it hasn't been that long since I played it.
When did you last play it?
It was a couple of years ago.
Last I played it was
Oh.
for the show,
Yeah,
like 4 years ago.
Honestly, I remember it.
No, it was
I remember
5.
it so well.
It was 5 years ago we played that for the show.
yeah, it was. It was before.
Shit, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did it with Kevin and
Christ.
Derek. Oh, no, we did it again for us, didn't we?
no,
No?
we never did it. It was you
I've never
guys,
played
you
it.
three, like you, Kevin and Derek, and you had the
Oh, the
theory
the
that
theory.
school was dead the whole time. It
And
was
Kevin,
an interesting
yeah,
thing.
Kevin played through as a no level. He made it to
yeah.
the end of the game with all of his characters at level 1.
Yeah.
And then Jess played through the first garden and quit.
Is it? See,
Yeah.
the characters being level 1, though, that is the Final Fantasy VIII is the one where that's the most possible because the enemies scale with you
Yes.
as you go through.
Yeah, and bosses don't
Yeah.
give you experience; they only give you AP. But Kevin spent probably
Yeah.
25 hours playing Triple Triad.
Oh my god.
Yeah, ridiculous. But yeah, Final Fantasy
Yeah, so
VIII Remaster next Tuesday. Oh, I didn't watch any more trailers. I know that Dalton Sutor linked the dance scene.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to watch that. I want to experience that firsthand.
Which
Anthem guy here.
yeah.
Which apparently there's a nod to that meme in the game. So after she says that, the game kind of
Isn't it?
zooms in on his face a little bit.
Oh no, that's pretty.
No, I think they've just done that on social media. I don't think it.
No, I think it's genuinely in there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Which console are you going to buy this on?
See, I've really been hemming and hawing about it. I think I'm just going to get it on Switch because for me, portability on RPGs is huge.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like Final Fantasy
That's a
just
hard
belongs on a Sony console.
I know, right?
I agree.
And I really like that Final Fantasy VIII theme that you can get by pre-ordering it.
Yeah. For once, it's actually fairly priced on Switch.
It's only going to be $20.
Yeah. Which is it's all right.
Here's the link to this so you understand. It says Final Fantasy VIII Remaster addresses a classic meme.
Yeah, on social media.
No, but then there's an actual clip at Final Fantasy, the Twitter account, the actual verified account, posted a video of what happens in that part of the game.
All right.
So
I wish they'd actually remake it.
I do too, but I'll take this.
Because I feel like it's the one of that era that is forgotten about. Final Fantasy VIII. Everyone talks fondly about 7 and 9.
They might do it after they finish with 7. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe. We can all
I
live
mean, I
in hope.
would love to see that like Balam Garden done in the same way as
I
they're doing
know.
Midgar in Final Fantasy 7. It would just be so good.
God.
I think you're right though. Like 7
That's just the entirety of the first game, just Balam Garden.
I don't know how well 8 would be received. I mean, there are some diehard fans out there. I know we have quite a few in our group, but
Yeah.
I mean, 7's battle system could be changed in the way it is pretty seamlessly, but 8's is a tricky one.
It'd be really difficult to
swap over.
switch the draw system into real time.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I think when you play that game, if you're playing it nowadays, you'd probably spend about the first hour just farming 100 of each spell from the enemies you
sorry
attack.
for doing that.
Because I, as a kid, had no idea how the junction system
It
worked.
was
I don't
weird.
know how I even got through this game.
Yeah.
I assume I just like kind of went junction auto and then just went through that. But I remember struggling at certain points, like where you go under Balam Garden, the section with the oil boil enemies, where just before the garden takes flight, like I just couldn't beat it.
Yeah. I always found it weird how you could draw, but instead of stock, you could cast.
Yeah.
And that tended to be weaker than if you stocked it and cast. It was sort of...
Well,
It
because
used to
then
really annoy
it-
me as well when you were trying to draw things and it wouldn't work.
Yes.
Well, because if you drew it and put it onto yourself, then it would
Oh, the stats would be increased.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Got
the
it.
stats would be increased, and then the power of that spell would be increased because your magic stats would be higher.
I feel like 8 is one of the Final Fantasy which is easiest to get through as well if you're clever, because you can keep your characters on yellow health and just spam limit breaks just all the way through.
Yeah.
So last time I played through, I just used to use Squall's Renzo Kuken all the time and just like just absolutely owned everyone.
I think what's cool is that they're including the ability for triple speed, and you can turn the battles off.
Yes.
Which I think is
That's
actually, I
really
think it might
good.
be kind of fun to play through the game without the battles and just experience the story.
Yeah.
Because I think 8 has a story that is, it's one of those where you really have to play through it quickly to remember the finer details. Because the later parts of this game
Definitely.
kind of expect or rely on your ability to remember minute details from the beginning. And over 40, 50 hours, you tend to forget those.
Yes. Because I barely remember the whole middle section of that game.
Well, Dan mentioned it
It's
before
been a long
too.
time, to be fair.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it has been a long time for me, to be fair, since I last played it. So,
Well, Dan mentioned too, once they get into the part about the orphanage, that's when things really start to get convoluted and they start talking about the time sorceress and Adia and all of that crap. Then it gets really confusing.
yeah.
See, that's for me where it falls apart. I don't.
And then they introduce
think
Lunatic
it's-
Pandora and yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lunatic Pandora.
But I love the ending to 8. I think that I'd be willing to say that Squall and Rhinoa's love story is the best Final Fantasy love story. It's at least the most believable.
I think so, too. I agree with that.
Yeah. I didn't realize as a kid how just like abrupt Squall is. Like he's just so like all the time. Just
but then now as an adult, you're like, oh man, I know people like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can kind of relate to him.
Back in the day, you just thought he was really cool, but if you were his friend, you just want to punch him in the face because he's just all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
He's in the corner, just with his little dots, just saying nothing. What do you guys? You know, like when he folds his arms, he turns to the side, and it always has just little dots, like to signify he's not saying anything. What noise do you picture that being?
Yeah, I kind of pictured it as just a total groan.
With his body language, it kind of looks like that is the case. Doesn't he do a thing as well where he like kind of puts his head in his head like this?
And like shakes his head back and forth?
Yeah.
And Zell's in the background just punching away all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I remember being so impressed with that at the time, like all the different interactions, because it was such a step up from 7.
Oh yeah.
7 had these blocky, weird characters.
Yeah.
And it just looks so much better.
And the fact that they all followed you as well when you were running around the world map and stuff.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was.
Weird. We should do that next time we're together. Just follow each other around really closely.
And then have the leader just go in circles and then run off, and then everybody else does all their circles and follows him.
Yeah. I think I shared with you guys on the chat the other day as well. I just remember my friend had this. I'm not sure if it was the demo version or not, but it had the section where Irvin tries to shoot the sorceress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In Deling City, and I just remember at the time being so impressed that he picked up an actual sniper rifle off the ground. Like looking back, it looks absolutely atrocious. Like it's clearly not attached to his hands and things like that. But at the time, it was just so cool.
I'm really excited to get back into it. Really excited. Yeah.
Talking to you guys now, I'm kind of tempted.
We should probably at some, like, I know Tom's got a little bit of a time schedule here. We should probably jump into a little bit of the Getaway before he has to leave. But I wanted to make a quick note. I started the Dragon Quest XI demo for Switch, which that's 10 hours long. That is a long demo. And
that's a good demo.
Yeah. And whatever you do in there will transfer over to the full game,
which is really cool. And they did that with Octopath Traveler as well.
Yeah. I am kind of hooked on it, but now that I've got a few other games on the docket and Dan's marathon titles coming up, I should probably hold off on those. So, yeah. Let's get into the Getaway here, because this was Tom's game, and it would be a massive disservice if he was not here to tell us why he made us play this.
All right, Governor, you remember the Getaway? It came out on the PS2.
Oi!
Back in the day.
Oi, Wanker! This game came out way in the past.
So, yeah, look, I remember when the Getaway was first talked about on PS2, and my friend brought in a magazine into school, and we were flipping through screenshots of the game, and all we knew about it was that a developer in London had basically spent a lot of time recreating central London and the outskirts, like block for block, like exactly as is, and it looked so realistic. Really, really cool looking game. And all we kept saying to each other was, yeah, it's Grand Theft Auto, but it's set in the UK. And
how wrong you were.
And so everyone just thought, cool, this is what it's going to be. And then you kind of learned that, okay, no, it's got a little bit more story. It's a bit more story-ish and a bit more cinematic, you know. And it started to become quite grandiose and ambitious with what it was trying to do. So it's, you know, it's that GTA style where it's like a lot of on-foot missions, but also a lot of driving missions. And it's more point for point. It's not like you have...
yeah, there's a few driving missions, Tom. Thanks.
All right. I like the driving. We'll come to that, but...
no, you don't.
I started off not liking it, and then I... Honestly, full disclosure, I got good. All right?
I never got good.
It is not the friendliest system. But... yeah, it's more point to point than Grand Theft Auto. You're just following the first half of the game is one linear story with one character, and then the second half is another linear story with a different character, but in the same world with the similar crossing over with the events of the first half. So,
well, I think what's the game itself, you touched on it a little bit, was really is kind of a rocky start for it, because it started off as a PlayStation title.
Yeah. It did,
because they had just released, or they had a really successful release in Porsche Challenge, and
that's it.
There was another company, Bizarre Creations, who had done Metropolis Street Racer, and which was set in the central streets of London, and they said, you know what, let's steal their thunder and let's recreate 113 kilometers of London, which is like 75-ish miles. They didn't get anywhere close.
Yeah.
I think at the end result, they were only actually able to
30,
create
is it, or something?
16 square kilometers or 10 miles.
Yeah.
And even that, just getting that down delayed the game 27 months.
Yeah.
Over 2-year delay.
It's
You know what? It's an impressive undertaking for the PS2. It is an incredibly detailed city.
It is.
See, I didn't think so at the beginning until I really started to pay attention to some of the details. And the game is very granular.
Yeah, I think that's it. And you know, to summarize, if I can summarize it, the whole game, it's really wonderful attention to detail and a big focus in on the small things that make it a cinematic experience, but they just forgot to make
a good
the
game.
Core gameplay mechanics good. They had a pretty good story.
That's a shame.
They had a really beautiful world that they'd spent ages crafting, and quite clearly that's where all the money and time went into, was making sure they had all the licenses.
I've just seen, Tom, sorry, that world actually renders in such a way that it only loads in certain sections.
I was just going to bring that up too, because Tom, you made
which is kind of, I believe that was done recently with Horizon Zero Dawn. Basically, it renders everything that you're looking at.
Yes,
but nothing else.
Well, this one I was reading that
clever. Same
thing where it just loads things around you, and you made a comparison to Grand Theft Auto. I always remember being not upset, but annoyed that, okay, I'm going to go to the next island. Now I have a load screen, because if you just be hauling ass across one of those bridges, 25-second load screen.
I forgot about that.
You never hit a load screen in the Getaway, which was extremely impressive. But that's also one of the other reasons that they couldn't reproduce 113 kilometers, was that the developers had to create this engine that could constantly stream 3-dimensional geometry.
No,
but there's a lot going on as well in every bit, because there is always cars, like a lot of cars.
Yes,
the same in every street, and then there's pedestrians as well. And all these cars have obviously got their behavior. Like, I noticed, I didn't see any of the cars crash at any point. Like, I crashed into them a lot.
Yes.
But I didn't see any of the cars crash.
Which isn't a realistic representation of London, because there are fucking accidents everywhere.
It's very deliberate and by design that you can drive from one end of London to the other and then enter a building, and there's no load times, and you're going up and down levels, like the verticality in there, and lots of different characters and actions happening, and then you can run out of that building into a car and drive to the other side of London again without any loading.
But if we're objective about that, I think there's like 7 buildings in the entire city that you can go in.
Sure, yeah. There is a suspension.
You go to a few of them a few times.
yeah.
Like a ship.
But, yeah.
Oh, the ship.
But, yeah, like you say, when you see the granular details, you're right. Like, there's all the stores that I remember, like, I was sitting down last night and playing it with Kat, and she was watching intently, not because she found the driving interesting, but because she was like, oh, you're near my office where I used to work at the Strand. Oh, and now we're at Piccadilly, where
I noticed I was at Piccadilly.
Chinatown is. Yeah, it's it's really well done. And
Or at Trafalgar
a lot
Square.
of these retailers are still there.
I'm just driving around constantly depressed because it's in London.
Hyde Park is there. The bus lanes are all correct.
I was like, went past King's Cross, and then I was like, that's where Tom told me my journey was going to end.
Yeah,
And there's Regretta Manager where we picked up.
There's Tom's flat. You can tell by all the police going past it.
There's Jessup's, the camera store, Carphone Warehouse, the Chinese restaurants that are in Chinatown.
So to get all of this, did they have to pay royalties on anything, or did they sell this as like advertising space?
I couldn't find that out. I was trying to do some research into that because I'm not sure. I think what they did have to get licenses for was all the cars in the game are real. They're all actual manufacturers. There's Alfa Romeos, Rover, Saab, Range Rover,
Double-decker
Peugeot,
red bus,
Renault, the buses, like all of those are real
Royal Mail vans.
Cars. Royal Mail vans, CityLink vans, FedEx vans.
And there was one particularly precarious British telecommunications van.
Yes.
I was hoping that my release of the game. So there's a controversy that with all of these companies that were in there, British Telecommunications had a van that was used in a mission where you, the character, have to kill the driver and then take that van to assassinate a police officer. And British Telecommunications is like, yeah, we don't really
just
want...
call it BT, dude. Just call it BT.
Okay, yeah. Well, BT's like, we don't really want our company associated with something like that. So they said...
made a plain white van.
Yeah, in subsequent releases. They didn't recall the initial release, but in subsequent releases. So I was hoping that my release was one of the initials, and it wasn't.
Basically, most people would have 1 point.
And I thought I had the original. Mine was just generic white van.
Yeah, 1.1 is the white van, but if you have the original pressing, you'll have a grey BT van.
I gotta find that now. Actually, no, I don't want to spend any more money on this game.
Hey. But yeah, no, let's get into the sort of story. It's actually it starts off very simple. Well, it's just
one other note I want to make about this before we get into that is what really drew me in about it. And I remember this comparison when the game first came out was that it was meant to be a movie that you played, and they really went all in on that. There is not a single HUD.
There's no HUD
to speak of in the entire game. The entire
not
game
even
is
not even a reticle to aim.
No mini map. There's no directions for driving, which is fun.
There's no directions in general.
And it relies on your indicator.
The gameplay.
You rely on your car's indicator instead, which, if your indicator is smashed, you have to find a new car.
And I didn't pick up on that until...
I want to get into this indicator system because, my God, it's bollocks. I remember as a kid, I got lost all the time. And
that indicator system would have worked fine on American roads.
Yeah, because they're so straight. But
exactly.
London is so incredibly complex, and it'll tell you to go right, and there's not a right turn forever.
Exactly.
And then it might tell you to go right, and then you'll come to a crossroads down a one-way street where it doesn't tell you if to go left or right. Then you end up going right, and you have to go left.
So many one-way streets.
This is my problem with the driving on this game, because the cars, again, this is probably a decision because of realism and things like that.
Yes.
The cars are so fragile.
Oh yeah,
fragile.
You're either doing donuts.
Me and Eric was saying the other day, and I'd say on a mission, it took me an average of over 10 cars to get anywhere.
It took me 10 cars to get down the street.
It's just like, and if you get up any speed, you'll enter a street which is either one way or incredibly narrow, which is authentic London, I guess, but it's just to actually get around. I don't know. It's just, it was frustrating.
Tom, give us a rundown of the story here.
Well, a couple of London gangsters are sat in a car outside a building, and they're waiting to kidnap a child. But
that was a good start to a story.
They seem like a couple of low-life thugs who then get introduced to this professional female killer.
Yes, exactly. And so...
Oh, Mrs. Hammond,
you bunch of fucking amateurs.
Yeah. Fucking Charlie. Said I'd be working with professionals, not a bunch of bloody has-beens. So they're waiting until the woman and her child are a safe distance away from their home, so that they can
Never
basically,
leave
the
an
idea is,
optimal escape route between you and your target.
yes.
What accent was that?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's so funny. And
It goes south real quick.
It goes south real quick, and they shoot. They actually end up shooting the woman, the kid's mum, and she dies on the side of the road. They bundle the kid into the car. Car takes off.
Bundle!
Mark Hammond, who we end up controlling, he looks like he's sleeping in his suit for some reason. Looks
Taking a
out
bit
his
of a
window,
snooze.
sees his wife on the floor and his kid being bundled into a car, and he grabs a handgun. Not sure why he has one, but
It was the one on the ground that was used to kill his wife.
Oh yeah.
So he puts his fingerprints all over it, and then a lady carrying grocery bags comes around the corner and screams
Yes.
and sees him there holding his dead wife with a gun in his hand, and then he takes off.
He takes off into a green Alfa Romeo, and that's where you then control him in the Alfa Romeo.
Now, let me tell you about this first scene here. I got into the car, and I was really into the whole realism aspect of this. I'm like, this is great, playing a movie. I'm going to do this car chase. My son's out there. I got to go get him. And I hop in the car, and I couldn't get it to move. Like, how the fuck do I get you to go? He's getting away. My kid is getting away. How do I move?
Well, this is the part, Eric, with controllers where you can try the different buttons and they do different
I tried
things.
literally every button. I just didn't try the other joystick.
Maybe not. The other joystick?
It's a you hit the right joystick forward to drive.
No, you
Yes,
don't.
you do.
No, you don't. It's X.
It is not X.
It is X.
It is not
It is
fucking
X.
X.
Dude, are
It is X.
you asking what
I don't know
accelerate
what
is?
kind of control scheme you had on, but it's not the right one.
Mine was the right joystick to move forward. That was
No.
accelerator. And
Oh my
yes,
God, no wonder it took you 10 cars to get down the
Eric,
street.
man, no wonder you found it so horrible.
oh yeah, right joystick accelerate, right joystick
No, I
down
can
brake.
confirm, even with using
But
X.
I
it's
also have the
still
American
horrendous.
version of this game.
I don't know. I pressed every damn button.
Friggin' hell. Friggin' hell.
Like,
I'm speechless because
I can't believe you did that. That's just...
I went through 18 hours of this game controlling it like that. I remember when Gran Turismo incorporated that feature. I'm like, this is going to be really cool on a racing sim. It's like throttle the gas. Nope, suck. Don't ever want to do that again. And here I am. I'm going to need to pop it back in again.
I don't
and
know
see.
how you got that control scheme
Yeah.
on. I really don't.
I don't know. It
Yeah,
sucked.
you're gonna have to.
It sucked.
But yeah, no, it's kind of cool because when you first start driving, Mark Hammond, who you're playing as, is kind of talking to himself out loud, like, gotta get there quicker, can't believe they've got him and stuff like that. Like, it's kind of like I hadn't really seen that before in a game, like a kind of monologuing to himself that he's clearly in a
active
tense
dialogue.
situation. Yeah, active dialogue and like the score.
I also found, though, that the sound balance was off with that, and 9 times out of 10 you couldn't hear what he was actually saying.
Agreed. That was a shame because the music is kind of like
And I
Because it was
purposely
either
left
playing-
subtitles
It was playing
off.
weird sound cues when the Chinese showing up or the Yardi show.
I was wondering what that was.
what's that? Sorry, what did you say? I didn't
it's
hear
like
it.
it just you're driving around there and suddenly goes. Like,
Oh
what's this?
yeah. Did you? I was going to ask you guys about this. Did you ever have? If you're referencing the same thing, Dan, but every now and again you'd be driving around and you hear like a little like
Like a wrench? Like a
sparkle sound,
yeah.
like a ding like that or something. Did you get that?
It depends on what gang
sometimes
was showing up.
It's either there's like a violin one which sounds really discordant, which I think
Yeah.
is Charlie's Men.
Oh, what? So it's when they're close to you,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, and then there's a different sound cue for the Yardies, and there's a different sound cue for the Chinese who randomly attack you
why
as
do
well.
they use sound cues for that? Why do you need to know?
But the sound cues never sync up with when they show up.
Yeah, it's usually
It's kind-
a few seconds behind.
Yeah.
wow.
So yeah,
Weird.
I sat there and went, well, this is exciting, and then took off, immediately crashed my car, and it burned out in the first corner. And then I couldn't figure out the driving mechanic of it. Like, how the fuck do I get to where I need to go? I knew the blinker system. I just didn't understand the intricate details of it. Like, okay, it's blinking. Does that mean I take the next right, or do I wait for it to get even faster and then I take that right? Or what do I do here? What I do know is that it takes you on the least efficient route possible.
Yes,
it does. It's
I remember
it's so
distinctly
long.
there being times like, I know that I have taken 4 rights now, and I've just gone around this block. I've been here before. Why didn't you just have me turn left?
And even on early
it's
missions,
especially bad when you've got, because certain missions have really strict time limits on.
Oh yeah, they do.
Which is really,
And you don't
really
know.
annoying. And then you get,
Because of course there's
you
no
just
HUD.
get
Yeah,
hopelessly lost in London, and it's just
you're right. Because there's time limits sometimes, but as usual, because there's no HUD, you don't really know how long you have. That's a bit tough. But also, even in the early missions, I don't know if you guys noticed, but some of the driving sections were really long. Like, it took me genuinely quite a long time to get to where I needed to go.
They wanted to show off that London they created.
They did. I think that's what it is. They think that.
But it's just for me, it's just not a fun place to drive around. It's like,
Well,
you
yeah,
said
everybody
before,
was on
if
the
it
wrong
America,
side of the
if it had
road.
that straight roads.
I played the entirety of the game driving on the correct side of the road, and the rest of the game just wouldn't get on board with it.
I just got on the pavement as often as possible and knocked over as many pedestrians as possible. It's just easier that way.
For as much
I beeped the horn, and if they didn't move in time, they died.
For as much detail as they put into the sound, though, some of the cars, if you would hold down the horn, you could tell it was just a 1 second horn sound effect that was looping. Like, there'd be a clear cutoff, and then it would start over. It's just
Oh, really?
And some of the other
I
ones,
didn't notice that.
oh yeah, some of the
didn't
other
know
ones,
that.
if you held it down, like it was a nice seamless sound.
I didn't know that.
What also really irritated me about the driving, right, is I mentioned before, like, how easily the cars get destroyed, but there's various different ways a car can get destroyed. For example, you might glance off the side of a car, and then somehow this has completely buckled your wheels, and when you're driving in a straight line, you either
just
go
veers.
towards the right or the left,
Yeah.
and it's so irritating. And then if you manage to smash into the front of someone, your car will start smoking, and then you can drive it for a little while, but then it'll get progressively blacker, and then eventually burst into flames and burn you to death.
You have such a small window of time to get out of the car, too.
I don't even think you can.
And
Can
honest
you get
to
out
God,
of the
right,
car?
this happened to me. I'd been driving. I must have drove through the city for a good 10 minutes, right? My car crashed, and it was smoking, so I drove it for a bit longer, and then it turned to black smoke and instantly set on fire, and I got out of the car, and some bastard ran me over, and I had to start again.
Yeah, and I don't really know why they didn't bend the realism a little bit for the driving sections, because it's not like they didn't with the
Just checkpoints, Tom, would have been nice.
with the
Checkpoints.
on foot bits. Yeah, I agree. Because let me tell you, like, so when you, as you know, when you're in the on foot sections, it doesn't matter how many times you get shot, as long as you're not dead, you can basically find a wall and you're to lean against. Mark will automatically lean against the wall.
Hold on. Let me explain my
Which
frustration with
about.
this.
I already knew about this. So I didn't have. It's interesting hearing it from someone who hasn't
I
played
knew
before.
about it, but I forgot
So-
until Eric mentioned it.
I just heard in my mind as I'm playing this after the controller scheme issue, and I looked in the manual. Said, okay, I'm going to read through this manual here, just because I heard Mike Tyson go, "Why didn't you read the manual? It was in the manual." And I read through the manual.
That sounds like Mike.
Also, if you hit pause, you get hints at the top of the screen.
Yeah, so I'll get to that. Here's my frustration. So I made it to the first mission, had a very similar experience to Dan, got all the way there. It was a really long drive, got there, parked my car, got out, walked across the street, got hit and killed. Had to do the whole driving section over again. So
You can't rotate the camera though,
No.
can you? So you can't
No.
actually check if anybody's driving
Which is
over
annoying.
the road if you need to cross
So
the
I get
road.
to the first actual mission where you have to go into that club after Charlie. We can talk about that in a second. But that first mission, I did it 30 times, and I was ready to call it quits on the third mission or second mission of the game. Completely ready to call it quits. Like, there is no way I'm going to get through this, because I'd go in, I knew where all the enemy placements were, I'd shoot all of them, I'd take a couple hits, I'd get up to the top, and by the time I get to the top level, I'm bleeding out and going, how the fuck am I supposed to get back down without dying? And I'm looking through the manual going, I don't know how to heal. And I would start looking for health packets everywhere. I'm like, I I don't know what to do. So I had to go online, like, how do I heal? And they're like, yeah, stand next to a wall. So I interpreted that as you press X and lean against it. So like you're doing your little stealth lean. I'm like, this isn't working. I hate this game. And finally discovered you just stand next to it and then he leans against it.
Yeah.
But I did finally see one of those hints on the second to last mission. Like I always read the hints as they were coming through because you have some load screens. Like, oh, that's kind of neat. Showed up once, like 17 hours into the game. To heal, stand next to a wall and mark a lean against it. Like, oh, thanks. Thanks for that.
Handy.
Yeah.
I think that the lean thing is so dumb. I mean, games traditionally have ridiculous health systems, but this is up there with the top daft ones for me. It's just so stupid.
I kind of.
It's like I at one point I was calling it the panting game because no matter where Mark Hammond goes, he just constantly goes.
I get it. I think it's a bit like
ridiculous.
Like you like in games like Call of Duty and stuff, where you don't actually have health. You just can't get shot a bunch of times in a row. You have to chill for a second. It's kind of a bit like that, but yeah, it's the whole action of having to be
Gears of
still.
War, where your teammate gives you a gentle pat on the head, and then you're fine as well. And it just makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's video games, I guess. But my issue with the stupid lean thing was how long it took. Like, and then you're just waiting for some numpty to come round the corner. Or I should say Muppet, Eric, in honor of this game.
Because
Muppet is
Muppet.
Eric's. You fucking Muppet!
I need your
lean
details
against the wall.
It felt a bit unfair sometimes, but I sometimes like that aspect.
So then you kill him, and then you lean against the wall, and you're like, and then your excessive panting magically heals all these handy bullet wounds you've got.
And your clothes clean themselves. It's great.
How you feeling now?
You fucking Muppet.
I did like that Mark's little
with the filth.
fucking Charlie.
Don't tell the filth nothing.
He's got me running all over the shop. He's got
You're off your fucking rocker, Jolson.
The worst voice actor was Mark's friend Liam.
Yeah.
He was terrible.
Or the
Really
reggae
terrible.
guys. I like how they had subtitles for the reggae guys, but you couldn't, it didn't match up at all with what they were saying.
What, the Yardies?
It's like what was he called on GTA 4? I couldn't understand a word he said.
Oh, the Wagwan guy? Wagwan!
Yeah.
I don't remember that guy.
That's what the Wagwan came from.
Oh, no, there was one on GTA 4.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
There was one short section towards the end of Hammond's. No, maybe it was Carter's. But anyway, you get in the back of the van, and there's 3 yardies in there, and they're trying to talk to each other, and the cop is yelling at them to shut up, and like you just can't understand what they're saying at all.
Yeah.
Something bubble clot. That's what I thought. What is a bumble clot?
A what?
A bumble clot.
Bumbleclot.
I don't know. A bumble clot?
That's why. I'm sure they say bumble clot.
It's it means toilet paper.
Oh, so Dan, Krista would love it.
Well, I don't know. Actually, it's a slang
Krista, go get
equivalent
some new bumble clot.
No, sorry, it's a slang equivalent to douchebag.
Oh, never mind.
But we could go with toilet paper too.
Oh yeah. So the first half of the game, like you mentioned, you play as Mark Hammond, who is, you discover, a former gangster. He's gotten out of a life that he vowed.
He was part of the Collins gang.
Yeah. And he's about to be dragged back into a life he has vowed he left forever.
Yes. But of course, like in the Mafia, you can never really leave.
Blood in, blood out.
Yeah.
I mean, it really takes over the place of like a few hours, this game, doesn't it? It's kind of just a progression of events as it goes through.
Actually, that's a good point,
it
Dan.
literally goes from job to job.
You never see it. There's no day-night cycle, is there?
No.
It's never nighttime.
This is why I assumed it just takes place very quickly. If you play through DC Carter's missions,
It's even
you can
quicker.
kind of see it clips along very quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot more urgency in Carter's. So you do get the impression like, yeah, this was really only about 12 hours at most.
That's kind of cool. I didn't think of that. That, yeah, it's never nighttime. There's never, which is a shame. That's a missed opportunity because London looks pretty cool at night, and there's stuff they could have done with
the
that.
sequel has nighttime elements.
Black Monday?
Yes.
Clues in the name. The sequel is apparently awful, unfortunately. Not that I'm saying this is a masterpiece.
So not much better than the first.
Apparently, it's a lot worse. I'd like to play it.
I remember really enjoying the sequel.
Maybe it was rated badly because they didn't do anything new. One of those sorts of reviews where people were expecting it to be even better, and instead it was just the same.
I wonder if the driving is just as bad.
I wonder if I've still got it. Maybe I should have a look.
The driving
Probably
can be
next
tough
to your
when
Wii
you're.
U.
Did you guys notice if you try and take corners fast in the Getaway, the frame rate would just drop to like 10?
Oh, yeah.
And I think you put it pretty well, Eric. It's like either steering a planet or just like
I don't remember. Something on ice
something
skates.
about a water slide or something like.
It's like going down a water slide lubed up in KY jelly or steering a planet. There's no in between.
It's pretty fair.
So true.
It is. Like if you try and do a hard turn,
the cars themselves all handle really differently as well. They've all got different handling and speeds and things like that. If you're getting a London taxi, for example, it's sluggish as hell.
Yep. Did you guys notice? Well, those are real number plates as well, real license plates. They actually.
Yeah, I saw a lot of ones which ended with ABP. I think
ABP.
Yeah, I just noticed that one all the time.
Did you notice that
they must only have a select amount?
Yeah, they did. They bought like a bunch for however much they are each, and then they just recycled them on the cars.
I was going to say, like, all the green Alfa Romeos had the exact same tag, and all of the white Lexus had the same tag.
Yes, I forgot there's Lexus. The Lexus is like one of the fastest cars in the game.
Can we talk about, like, during the Mark Hammond missions in particular, like how many different types of people they want to set against you to make getting through the city harder? For example, like you could just go down the street and the police would instantly be on you. Like you'd done nothing and they just... But the annoying thing is, as soon as they see you, they just come from nowhere and just kind of do like a... Try to go in front of you all the time. You just end up smashing into them.
Yeah, but that's where you just hit the brakes. And then they go flying ahead of you. Initially, I was really frustrated.
No, I'm talking about when they're on the other side of the road, for example. They'll come and swipe like in front of you instantly.
Initially, I was really frustrated that the lampposts were not destructible.
Oh, yes, that was...
I obliterated myself on so many of those, but then I started using it to my advantage. So if the cops or the triads or the yardies or whoever would get next to me, I'd just drive until I could push them into a light post, and then they would just be demolished.
It's not just the lampposts, though. It's railings. Like the traffic lights, the bollards, and the railings, and everything is non-destructible. So if you crash into it, you're pretty much going.
The bollards were fine; they would just go flying. But the railings, like you couldn't cross over to the other side of the road. So it made everything feel a bit claustrophobic. But again, that is London. Like driving around London is like that. So it's like it's this thing where we talked about it before with Red Dead, where how far does realism go before the game isn't fun anymore? And you have to always ask yourself, I think, when you're making games, yes, this is kind of intricate and cool, but is it fun? And maybe they just didn't.
I think that's what it comes down to with me in this game, Tom. Like, yes, they pushed for realism, but at the same time, it doesn't have elements of realism, and it kind of takes away from it. For example, the game is very heavily about guns, but it's set in London. And like, for example, DC Carter's missions, this guy is a policeman and he literally, everywhere he goes, murders about 30 people.
Yeah.
And if even a gun gets fired in the UK, it's absolute hell on. There's inquiries and everything.
And every cop that comes out of their car has a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, which...
But I did like the inclusion of the bobbies that would come after you with their little beating sticks. Like this.
and the guys, they're all full black with the old school helmet and everything. Yeah.
Stop, or I shall simulate gunfire.
Yeah.
Don't have to in the Getaway. Everybody's got a gun.
What year do you think this is set? Because those London buses
Isn't it the 70s?
Old. It must... No, when I look at the cars, I think maybe it is actually the 90s. I think it might be the late 90s. It feels very much like it's supposed to be a bit like a Guy Ritchie movie. Like if you've seen Lock, Stock or Snatch, it's supposed to be a bit like that.
It's inspired apparently by The Italian Job.
Yeah. And it's got some of that dark humor as well. Like, do you remember the mission where you have to drive a dead body from to a Chinese restaurant,
God, yeah.
and he's just taped to the chair? Like, that's just funny, right? It's totally goofy because
of course it is, Tom. You throw dead women into a lake. Of course it's hilarious.
like it's so stupid. And he's like, how am I going to drive around London with this next to me?
Exactly.
But yeah, that's the sort of thing that happens in those Guy Ritchie movies. Just stupid shit like that.
So we didn't really talk much about what's happening to Hammond. After he gets there, he is reunited with Charlie Jolson, or Johnson, or whatever. It sounds like they say Johnson, but it's Jolson. Yeah. And he is this kingpin who has pretty much run the city for decades.
Fucking Charlie.
And he wants Charlie to... he's kidnapped Charlie's son to use as leverage to get Charlie... Or I'm sorry, he's kidnapped Hammond's son.
Yeah.
To get him to do a bunch of missions for him. And the ultimate goal is to set all of the factions of the city, all the different gangs, against each other to kind of mutually assured destruction. And then he can continue to take on the city.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No, that sets up the whole thing for Mark.
Yeah.
And then Mark is basically spending the first half of the game on a goose chase around London, trying to satisfy Charlie so that he doesn't kill his son.
Well, in his first mission, he has to go and kill members of his old gang.
His own gang.
And then he calls up Liam, his old buddy, and he's like, dude, I heard what you did. He's like, yeah, but you got to understand, like, they made me do it. And Liam's like, okay, I'll help you out. It's like, you just murdered 50 of my best friends, but I'll help you out.
Yeah.
You don't get attached in this game, Eric. You just got to go with the flow.
Did you guys notice that the mobile phones are all using a Sony? Like Sony Ericsson
you mean
phones.
S-O backwards N-Y?
No. Now, you mentioned this in WhatsApp the other day, but if you pay attention to the storyline, that warehouse is full of counterfeit goods.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah.
There's that level of detail.
There you go. See that they know what they're doing.
So Eric mentioned that the other day, saying like they must have got round the licensing of Sony by making the logo slightly backwards, so the end's backwards, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so basically, but then I was playing it, I was like, oh yeah, but they mentioned counterfeit goods, so that's why. Because we were all like, oh, they must have got the license from Sony, but this was a Sony exclusive game, so why wouldn't they let them use it?
They got a whole bunch of beer licenses too. Like you'll see Foster's, Stella Artois, Heineken,
there's all kinds of brands in this game. I've seen Cafe Nero. I saw HSBC Bank.
Yep.
I saw William Hill Betting Shop, the Royal Mail vans.
Yes.
The FedEx vans, as you said before. And there's just so many. And Tom, you said you saw a restaurant that you've actually been to.
Yes, Mr. Wu in Piccadilly is actually a all-you-can-eat Chinese restaurant that is still there today, which is just baffling. Like, this game is pretty old now. And so a lot of these stores
I was going to say earlier,
hands,
I forgot. This was kind of like a time capsule. And looking back at my childhood, like with all the different cars on the roads and things like that, I was like, I remember that car.
Yeah. So I think particularly if you're British and you play this game, you have that nostalgia for the time period. Even if the game isn't all there, there is this section where it is. You're like, oh yeah, this I can relate to this. So, but. No, it is. It hasn't aged well in some of its mechanics for sure. But
it's a shame because overall, Tom, I would say I did enjoy the story. But I haven't been this frustrated with the game for a very long time.
Well, I think one of the major components of frustration.
It just felt unfair.
Yeah, the combat. The combat. I get what they were trying to do by not having a HUD, so you couldn't have an aiming reticle. You press triangle to pull out your guns, R1 to aim them, square to shoot. And then to change targets, you have to quickly let off R1 and then press it again, and he'll change who he's aiming at. But that doesn't always mean he'll aim at the next closest target. Sometimes he'll completely turn around.
Oh, that guy who's shooting me in the face with the shotgun. Yeah, it would be nice to kill him. Oh, but I'm going to shoot this one who's at the other end of the warehouse, and I've got no chance of hitting you instead. Excellent.
And this is really typical, I think, generally speaking, of Sony's London studio. They don't make a ton of games. They kind of, if you go to their library of titles released, it's the same stuff. They're the same guys that did Blood and Truth and what's the other one?
Which is essentially Getaway PSVR.
Gangs of London on the PSP. Again, it's another Getaway style game. And the other one I'm thinking of was London Heist, the PSVR demo. So it's the same kind of stuff, and they're really into the concepts. Like, they don't make full-fledged video games; they just kind of put concepts together. But Blood and Truth obviously is a proper title, and the Getaway is too.
It was meant to be a PS3 Getaway game as well, but never got off the ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been
Getaway
cool.
3.
I kind of wish Rockstar would do a GTA set in the UK or somewhere else other than the US.
That'd be awesome.
I think that'd be really interesting. I know they did GTA
they're
London,
doing
but
Watch Dogs is in London, I guess. It's the
Yeah.
next best thing.
yeah, true.
You get to play as a grandma, Eric. So
I can't wait to just vault over some rails and people's elbow some young kids. Can't wait for it.
With the Getaway, I actually enjoyed DC Carter's missions more than Mark's.
I sadly didn't get to DC Carter's missions. I almost finished Hammond's last night, which is not bad going because I could only start this game Tuesday, Wednesday because I was out of the country. But so I actually didn't get to experience the DC Carter missions, unfortunately.
So I found
there's a difference with
Go ahead.
Sorry. There's a difference with DC Carter's missions because obviously you're playing as a policeman, so you don't have to deal with police trying to constantly get rid of you when you're going between missions, which makes the driving better.
Yeah.
And I also found the missions actually were a lot more action packed as well.
Yeah.
So there was lots of different people to shoot. But the only thing I didn't like about DC Carter's missions was the forced stealth ones, which are just such bullshit. Like, it's not stealth. It's basically try and figure out where they're going.
Yes.
Don't get spotted.
Yes.
And you will get spotted even if nobody's looking at you.
Yeah, even that first...
And then you fail the mission.
Even that first stealth mission with Hammond, I can't remember which one it is. I think it's when Jake is torturing some guy and you have to sneak your way up the stairs.
Oh, yeah, that one was bullshit as
And
well.
That scene actually caused the game to get banned in Australia until they re-released it with a different scene in there.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's too brutal.
Yeah, Australia is real tight on their...
They really are, aren't
Ratings.
they?
They are.
Yeah.
They banned Manhunt completely and things like that.
Yeah.
And Witcher
it's
3 and stuff like that.
It's too brutal.
So I found a quick...
I think they banned something recently as well, actually.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They ban books sometimes in Australia for a while.
Really?
The hell is this, 1984?
They're too laid back for this stuff.
So
Well,
I
at
found a
least
quick
censor.
overview of the chronology of the missions for Hammond, because where I really started to enjoy this game was once you flipped into DC Carter and you realize that you're playing concurrently, because towards the end of Hammond's missions, they're sitting in a jail cell and this random cop shows up and lets him out. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And you only see him at one other point, and that's when, as Hammond, you go to break out Jolson's nephew Jake out of a transport van, and then there's this random car that comes driving towards them, and they shoot him, and he flips over, and like it does this dramatic camera pan to the guy in the car, and like, okay, that's an idiot civilian. Like, they make no mention of who that is or anything. And once you flip into DC Carter and you start to realize, like, you make that connection that, oh, I'm playing 2 steps behind where Hammond is trying to catch up to him. That's when the game clicked for me. Like, I actually do kind of enjoy this. The shitty driving aside, the game itself, the story it's not excellent, but it's a good mafia story.
Yeah.
It's engrossing enough to keep you going.
Yeah.
I guess.
So
I hate it. I raged at this game. I've literally been shouting at the TV sometimes with how annoying the driving is and things like that, and just failing missions for bullshit reasons and things like that. But story-wise, I actually did quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I liked the goofiness of, like, you know, when you have to find Charlie, a girl I think it's Layla or something, and you accidentally kill her.
Oh yeah.
And then, what's her name?
Yasmin just dresses up as her. She won't notice she's a different person.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved that one going into the strip club. You just walk in, people are in there having a good time, and just start firing. And what's crazy is that the NPCs, they'll just get in your way, and you won't target them, but you'll target the enemy behind them and shoot through them.
That's even true when you're DC Carter as well, though, and like the mission in the hospital, there's just people there.
No, you're right. Even on the very first mission when you go to the restaurant, it was hard to tell to begin with who had a gun and who was threatening and who wasn't, so I just kind of shot everyone.
At that moment, I decided everyone in this game dies. I mean, they were going, let's be honest here.
Standard Eric.
Yeah. Let's be honest here. It takes too much time and effort to discern between good and bad, so everyone is assuming bad.
Oh yeah.
So you Muppets are in the wrong place.
They won't feel
bad.
They're only fiction.
The way that Hammond's story plays out is that Jolson wants him to go to the different factions and set them, do something to them, but these people don't know who is doing it. So he goes and attacks the London branch of the 14K Triad, the Yardies, to entice a turf war between those two. Then he ambushes the prison transport to release Jolson's nephew, Jake. And then he goes and attacks the Snow Hill police station to kill the detective the chief inspector.
And
what
Yasmin.
Was his name? McCormick?
Yes.
Yeah, McCormick, who you come to find out later was on Jolson's payroll. And then he has to free Yasmin, who is the girl from the beginning cutscene, who was along when his wife died. Then where do you go from there? Oh, you have to infiltrate Charlie's warehouse to locate your son. So halfway through, once you get Jasmine, then Hammond decides, like, you know what? I'm done playing his games.
Yasmin
comes through with him and says, okay, let's go get your son. And they start working to do that together, instead of what Jolson wants.
I didn't like it when she joined me. She was a liability.
She was terrible for a professional killer. She sucked.
Yeah, and also never get out of your car.
When your car inevitably exploded, you have to get out of the car.
And she just starts shooting.
Just decides to stand there shooting everybody and gets run over.
Yes.
Like, well done, Yasmin.
Yeah, super annoying. I hate it when NPCs that join you as suck.
Especially on the last mission. We'll get to that.
So, you end up getting captured. Both Hammond and Yasmin get captured, and then they're thrown into a basement cell of the warehouse. And at this point, they learn that both of them have just been bait in Jolson's plan to lure all of the major kingpins of each gang to a ship, which is probably the best mission in the whole game. And then they blow the ship up to wipe everybody out. And that is where Hammond's story ends, and you flip into Carter and it starts over again. But
you missed out the bullshit mission where you go into Charlie's house and it has high-tech lasers which kill you with gas.
Oh, yes. That was a fun one.
Oh, I hate it. So basically, when you move around in the Getaway, it's really like janky, and you can hug walls if you press X and things like that, and it's not essential up until this mission where you have to hug walls to get past these laser beams and things like that, and then you have to roll under them as well, and it just doesn't work well.
Yeah, the rolling doesn't work.
If you hit the laser beam, you get gassed and you die. I think I did this one about 10 times.
I did like pistol whipping people.
Was it then? You what? Sorry.
I did like pistol whipping people.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize until the end of the game that you can arrest people as DC Carter.
Well, yeah, because when you go up to people as Hammond, you can grab them and break their neck, or use them as a human shield, and then if you press square, you shoot them through the head.
Oh yeah, I did do that actually.
But you can't do it as Carter. As Carter, you just arrest them and put them in hand ties.
With your infinite handcuffs.
I think he just has zip ties.
That mission with the laser beams was nothing compared to the ship mission, which was one of the most frustrating missions I've ever encountered in a game. Ever. I mean, ever. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. Like, there's just so many elements to it. First of all, it takes absolutely fecking forever to get there. Like, even compared to all the other missions, it takes a million years. And then once you get there, you go up to the ship. You're with Yasmin, so you have to protect her and make sure she doesn't die.
Which she likes to do a lot.
Yes, a lot. And then once you get past that bit, you have to go down into the like lower level of the ship, where it's just full of goons who can come from about 10 different directions at once. And then after you get to past a certain point of that, you go into a warehouse where for some reason a crate is dropping from the ceiling and can kill you instantly.
Well, no, because the guy's up there, he's trying to kill you with the crate.
Oh, okay.
No, but there must be a guy at the top and he's just soaring away at the rope the whole time, right? And he's
and then you get past that and you go into another room and then there's a guy just driving a forklift round. And if he hits you, you die.
Oh, those are
instantly.
dangerous though. If you get hit with a forklift, you're done.
You are. But I kid you not, Tom. I must have done this mission 25 times.
See, I didn't struggle with it that much. I struggled with it, but not to the point that you did.
But maybe is this the one where you were floating down?
2 hours was spent trying to do this mission.
Yeah, that's the one where Dan was floating.
And you know, as we established earlier on, doing 2 hours of work,
it's too much. There's a clear cutoff at 1:45.
Right.
So then I had to turn it off, and Eric said, "Oh, if you put autosave on, it'll just remember where you are." Doesn't. I had to drive through the city again and get there. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I forgot to say that my game crashed a few
persisted.
times.
I got past it, and I did most of DC Carter's missions. I'm literally on the last mission.
Are you on the boat?
And I ran out of time. I'm on the boat.
Well, good, because when you complete the boat the second time, then you get to do it a third time.
Oh, excellent.
In reverse. It's awesome. It's great. Good fun.
One of the best.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
I had my game crash a couple times during cutscenes, which meant that I had to replay that whole section again in the mission, which sucked. First of all, it was just down to probably just a couple scratches on the disc. The second was my cat decided to jump on the PS2, which is it's one of those small, the slimline flip top. So any pressure on that top bit, it's just yeah.
Fucking Neo.
He does that sometimes.
You want to try having my PS4? It just randomly ejects discs as it pleases now.
It's really excellent.
Upgrade to the Pro.
I was about to win. I was literally about to cross the finish line on Crash Team Racing, an online race, and I would have won that race, and then it ejected the disc.
Nope, you don't want to win this. Skip.
Absolutely furious. Apparently, it's something to do with it has like a plastic nub under the PS4,
right?
And it builds up static, and this makes the eject thing go. So I've read online if you pull it out slightly and then you tighten the eject screw and things like that, it works for a bit.
Too much work. Can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Don't see the point.
I'll just buy digital from now on.
Not into collecting. But yeah, then at the end of Hammond's mission, who comes in? I forget who it is. Who comes in and convinces Charlie to let Hammond and Yasmin go?
Leader of the Collins gang.
Leader of the Collins gang comes in. Jolson calls all of the heads of the gangs and says, "Hey, Hammond is the one who's been causing all of your gangs this duress. I have him. Come down to the ship, just you, don't bring anybody else." Well, obviously, Jolson had all of his guys there. Everybody's really pissed off about it. They're kind of in this big Mexican standoff. And what's in it? The Collins gang guy convinces him, let him go. And as they get off the boat explodes. And that's the end of Hammond's missions. And then it flips over to Carter.
This I suppose you could argue it's of the time, but there are elements in this as well which are just so racist.
Oh my God, yes. I don't even want to repeat one of the lines that Jolson says. It is like even for 2003 or 2002, I'm like, boy, that's racist. I mean, I get it, that's the character, but wow.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
There's that torture scene we were talking about earlier as well. That was
rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually. I remember now.
To give you an idea, there is the Yardies. It's a gang of Africans, and then the Triads, obviously the Asians. So you can imagine the racial slurs that were thrown about.
That London slangy, slurry racism that comes through.
Yeah, and it wasn't it was not the N-word. It was something equally as bad.
Yeah.
The kind of people who say, I'm not a racist.
But like, okay, well, whatever you're going to say here is going to be horridly racist.
Yeah. Definitely fitting with the theme of it and the character, but still alarming, especially in a game at that time.
Well, it kind of begs that question, though, of is that acceptable if it's done in a fictional setting to portray the villainous nature of a character?
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose it's...
I mean, it happens in movies.
It's terrible, but it's part of history. So if you did a historical drama, for example, it would be part of history. It's like when... I'm all for equality and things like that, but if you have a period drama, for example, where a black person is part of society, it wouldn't have been that way. It's just how it was at the time. It's not trying to... it's not... Yes, it's inclusive to have a black actor play that person, but if it's historically accurate, is it right to have?
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
I hope I don't sound like against anybody at that saying that, because I'm not at all.
No.
It's just...
It's like
that's just how I feel about it.
I feel like it was. I remember that movie Django Unchained.
Yeah,
and Leonardo DiCaprio, like his character's horrible. He says some really awful things, but that was how it was at that period in history, and it was just captured in that movie. And it's
awful. I think we have to portray that to show us our mistakes.
Yeah, hey, look, we don't want to repeat this again. This is this, right?
I mean, even if you're creating a modern game, for example, let's say this game was made today, and Jolson's character was the exact same that he is now. Would that still be acceptable to put in and just say, that's his character, that's who this person is?
I think it would really cause controversy.
I don't know, actually.
I think it would on social media and stuff like that. I think people would be up in arms about it, but I think it's something that could still work.
Mafia 3 was pretty colourful with its language and stuff, and
I know for a fact in this country that we still have some really bad racists and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's part of life.
A lot of games now,
portraying it in media gets people talking about it. So,
and I think to directly answer your question, Eric, a lot of games now, if they do have sensitive content on the whole spectrum, is they kind of have an introductory message when you load the game up, like, hey, this represents a time in the past, it's fiction, and we're just trying to accurately capture the way things were, but we as like a game studio, we are all for inclusivity and equality, and
which to me,
I know they do that for Ubisoft titles.
We're telling a story
like Assassin's Creed,
which to me, I get why they do that, but
I don't know why you have to say, hey, we're telling a story, just to let you know we don't really feel this way.
It's like those notifications in a commercial where a car is driving down the road and they have to put that thing on the bottom, like, a professional driver course, do not try at home. Like, of course I know that a car can't fucking jump off of a cliff and fly through the clouds. Of course I know that. Like,
yeah.
I'll see, that's where I've been going wrong.
Having to like flat out say, this is a story.
It's like we need a catch-all for
because somebody somewhere is going to be offended and make a big stink about it, and then they're going to have to issue a formal corporate apology for telling a story.
Yeah,
I mean, be offended if it's offensive, but if it's done in a narrative context, then you could argue that that's the case. If it's a villainous character portraying a racist, for example, that is part of that character. It's not necessarily being not the game itself or the people behind it being racist. It's just to make that character seem more villainous in a way.
Yeah,
and I guess people
there are so many characters that are awful, just awful people, and that is their character.
And I guess a lot of people might claim like, oh, it's gonna promote violence and racism against these types of people. Well, those people who were going to act that way, they were probably going to act that way anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I feel like these are stories worth telling, and
all I know is that line in the story is like, okay, yeah, Charlie's a fucking asshole. Like,
yeah,
exactly. This guy is just a piece of work.
And it's a game for adults. Like, it's a rated 18 or an M or whatever, and so you would think that anyone who's experiencing it.
I got it when I was about 12. So,
Right? Yeah. But
thanks, Mama Curtis.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to. Have you ever played through to the end of this, Tom?
I never got to DC Carter the first time I played it, and this time I didn't either because of time. But I'm actually quite enjoying the Getaway, like for all the reasons we've labeled, and also like mainly the story. And so I am probably going to keep the PS2 set up and carry on.
The second half clips through pretty quick.
Yeah,
a lot of the missions are much shorter. I think they're a little more difficult, but they're much shorter. You've got you have timed driving missions, which obviously is a pain in the ass, and you have your stealth missions.
Sure.
But
with the timed driving missions, can you put the siren on and like get through quickly that way?
Nobody moves.
Like, does that make any difference?
No, nobody moves.
Oh,
yeah. So DC Carter, or what does DC stand for? Detective
Constable.
Got it. He is a disgraced police officer, and you kind of go through his fall from grace. He's one of those cavalier wildcard cowboy detectives who doesn't, he likes to buck the system, and he gets.
He's also really rocking the double denim.
Oh yeah, the Canadian tuxedo.
Yes.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, it's a Canadian tuxedo when everything is denim.
Double denim.
Yeah.
I've never heard it. We just call it double denim.
Oh no, Canadian tuxedo. So he is directly under McCormick, who you assassinate as Hammond. As you're trying to go through and solve this case, you, as Carter, start doing things that piss off McCormick. And at that time, you don't know that McCormick is on Jolson's payroll, but you start to get a sneaking suspicion that, okay, he's hiding something. I'm going to get to the bottom of it because...
no, you do know that because it's revealed in Mark's storyline.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess.
That's why you have to go kill him. So
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I forget. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, that's kind of his story. Is he's going through trying to solve this murder and catch up with Hammond.
Yeah, because Harry calls Mark and says that they believe that McCormick is getting a bit big for his boots and has been running his mouth. Is the phrase they use.
Into a police station and assassinate the detective in
Dressed
the police
up as
station.
A BT man. But in plain overalls.
But it's dressed up as a BT man is essentially Mark's normal outfit, but blue.
Yeah.
I love, no matter what, like how all the way through Mark's going through all this shit and stuff, and he still keeps his suit on with his tie done up perfectly throughout.
That's true, actually.
You'd think after the second mission, at least, you'd go, right, this tie's getting a bit hot now.
Yeah, you'd get into your comfies, right? If I'm going to do all this horrible shit, I want to be comfortable when I do it.
Put your double denim on and your nice Adidas sneakers.
Yeah, right.
Wait, what did you call them?
Sneakers.
No, Adidas?
Adidas.
Adidas.
It's Adidas.
Oh, God. Not another one.
Yeah, it's Adidas.
It's Adidas, son. Sorry. German brand.
Nah. Not gonna do it. Not gonna say it. I don't like it.
It don't work for me. I've been saying it this way for 31 years. I ain't gonna change.
I'm firm in my ways, even though I'm wrong.
He said he was wrong. Isolate the clip quickly.
I'm gonna edit that out.
Yeah, okay. That's half good.
Just like I edited out the time we spoiled Spider-Man.
Did you like that there were a few American voices in the Getaway? Like, you would clip somebody's car and they go, "Hey, I just polished that." "Hey, this is one way."
"Oi, wanker."
Oh, you heard that all the time.
Yeah.
"Stop, I need your details."
"Wrong way, there is a sign."
And there was female and male variants of each one as
Of
well.
polish, yeah. Yes.
No, of them all. Like I was driving down the street and a woman went, "Oh, there is a sign."
Oh, really? I didn't know.
As you're just leaning out the window as Hammond. Do you know who I am? I'm Mark Hammond, you slag.
Where's Alex?
You fucking muppet. Get out the way.
Oi, wanker.
I'm done playing your games, Charlie. I want my boy back.
All right, Jocelyn.
Is that
All
the
right,
way to
Jocelyn,
speak to
where's
an
my
old
boy?
We're going
friend?
to play a little game. I ring you,
Yeah.
you do the job. You don't do what I
You
tell
don't-
you, the kid dies. You don't do it when I tell you, the kid dies. You don't do it when I tell you, the kid dies.
Your
You talk
kid
to anyone,
dies.
you're late, you let me down, your kid dies. You get my drift,
You're off your fucking rocket, Jocelyn.
you fucking muppet.
He's not listening. Not a very good listener, are you, boy?
Browse, make him listen. I love the eyebrows.
Does eyebrows die?
Yes. Yeah, you
remember.
kill him as I think you kill him as Hammond. No. Hold
Do
on.
you? I don't remember that.
Yeah. Harry or Hammond and Yasmin kill Harry and Eyebrows
Oh, Yasmin, yes.
on the Soul
yes.
Vita the first time around. Fucking
Oh,
Eyebrows.
yeah, when you have to get into the car with eyebrows.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, right, I feel like killing some coppers.
Do you even know how to drive?
Well, fucking hell, my nan drives faster than this. And then he says, right, the Old Bailey, if you'd be so kind. Because you're in the spot.
There was one thing where where I was playing his Carter and he slagged off taxis while I was standing next to him. One drove past and he said something bad about taxis.
Did
And
he
I
really?
can't remember what it was now.
I don't know.
I literally just happened this morning. And
I do like all the voices. That really adds to it. It does add to it.
I just feel like I feel like DC Carter. They tried to make him more badass than he seems to be.
He kind of comes
Yeah.
off as a
Just
little bit of a
looks-
twat.
He just looks like a bloke who should be like having a cup of tea and like reading a book or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't.
I do
he
like
doesn't-
how that
he doesn't rock the badassery.
as Carter though, you don't have to deal with the cops whatsoever.
Yeah, that's nice.
That
I like
is good because it gets hairy at the end of Hammond's.
Ugh.
Where you've got everyone after you. You
Yeah.
don't even get a chance to really. Because I was trying to like try the cars and see what they were like. Because I remember the convertible being pretty nippy.
Oh, I never found that.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be either a Mazda MX-5 or a TVR, perhaps. A TVR is distinctly British
Ooh.
sports car.
In
Yeah.
Carter's you
there
actually
is a TVR which is in Carter's mission. You can find it in
Oh,
the garage.
Yeah, that's
Which also-
that's the one that I crashed in under 60 seconds and blew up.
I actually I took the Lotus because there's two cars. You can take the TVR or the Lotus,
Ah.
and I took the Lotus, and it actually survived for quite a while.
Oh, no.
And it's
Not mine.
really quick.
I was already at
You guys also
50%
know
car
that throughout
health
this, there's
when I pulled out of the garage.
throughout this game there is actually a lot of secret cars to find.
yeah, I
in
read this too.
Various different places around the map. Like I remember as a kid looking for them and never being able to find any. But it's,
Well, it's because you don't really get much of you don't really get many opportunities to free roam, do you? Because you're either on a time
there
limit.
is a cheat code which activates free roam.
Or at the start menu, you can
Oh.
just go to free roam.
What?
Yeah,
I
there's a
didn't have
free roam setting under extras.
Oh, I didn't go
there?
into
You
extras.
must have to unlock it.
No, it's there.
Did you ever go into it?
No, because I did not
I'm
want.
sure you
Like
must
that's
have a
the
book-
least
you must have a
enticing
knackered
part of this
version of
game.
this
Like,
game.
You didn't
hey,
want to spend more time in it.
here's the shittiest part of the game, and that's all you do. No thanks, I'll pass.
So
Damn it.
I was during the mission because the stupid indicator system took me a ridiculous way. I ended up in which I assume is probably Hyde Park, and I
Yeah.
was driving through it, and I found my car was basically about to blow up because I crashed into a tree, and I found a little like park buggy which had grass cuttings in the back, and that was I
Wow.
assume that's one of the secret cars. So I took that with, and then
Huh.
got down the street and crashed it and had to leave it.
It's like driving the golf carts in Grand Theft Auto, and you get out with a samurai sword. Just the goofiness of it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, that was a golf club, Eric. Hence the golf cart.
Yeah, but I had a samurai sword.
Yeah, with sword.
I did like Carter's missions a lot more because they were a lot more action based. There were a couple of the stealth ones that were super frustrating, but like when you have to go into the Yardy's house and just start shooting up this crack den. You're going up. You're going up through 3 stories of a building, clearing different rooms out, and then you bust through a wall and you got to clear out the house next to it, and then you get down into the yard, and you do eventually get into these turf wars where you walk into the yard and you've got the Yardies and the Triad shooting at each other, and you just kind of inject yourself into the middle of it. A lot of shooting. I like that. A lot of guns.
And the shooting wasn't, when you got locked onto the right people, the shooting was pretty fun, I found.
Yeah.
But the free aim was tough. That was
the shooting for me was I had an issue with it when you have, for example, the machine gun, like at a distance, you would miss constantly.
What, the AK?
Yeah, the AK is wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can't really spray that weapon.
Yeah, that is pray
you don't
and
play
spray.
Counter-Strike, son?
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I've got the list of secret cars. Oh no, there's only 3 on this page.
Yeah, there's the pistol, the AK, the shotgun, and the MP5.
Apparently, there's an American yellow taxi.
Ooh. Hopefully that thing's a little bit more durable than all the other cars that seem like they're just completely made out of sugar candy glass.
Yeah, but again, it's the realism, right? You can't rear-end a car and then carry on.
Well, if you're in an American car, you can. Made out of pure American steel.
Some kind of Buick.
Yeah.
Secret cars are Lotus 7, Nissan Skyline GTR 33,
I did find that.
TVR Cerbera,
Cerbera.
Lotus M250,
The Adidas.
Go-Kart, Peugeot 306 Modified,
The
golf
Konami.
cart, Royal Parks Daihatsu Hijet,
Oh my god.
Lotus Spirit,
Esprit.
Cityworks Transit.
It's a spree.
All right,
Spirit.
it looked like Spirit. I'm dyslexic. Leave me alone. The Saab Concept, a 4-wheeled armored car, and a Maserati Coupe.
Oh, shit.
Coupe.
Listening to you, Dan, read
Which
out
is in the
car
US
models
and
is
that was
PAL
brutal.
version V2
new
only.
favorite thing. Did you say there was something called a Saab Concept?
Yeah.
That looks dope.
In the Getaway?
Yeah. Type it in on Google Images, Saab Concept. It's a really neat car. Obviously, it was never released. I take it.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
too
You guys
cool.
didn't drive that?
No? Did you find that?
Yeah, that was in the parking lot of one of the missions as DC Carter.
Oh, I didn't get to DC Carter.
Oh, got it. Yeah, that was in there, and I took it out. That thing does not last long.
Because it's too fast.
Dan, this is the one where you go into not the big warehouse, but the other one where you have to go downstairs, kind of towards the end where you release Yasmin and Hammond. You're standing outside the parking lot area, and 2 guys are talking. You have to wait for one guy to go, and then you go out and break that guy's neck or whatever the hell it is. That car is sitting right over there.
Aw.
Didn't see it.
Too bad, Saab.
I quite fancy trying the go-kart, mind. That means I have to play the game again, which I'm not going to do.
Yeah, this one is going to take a spot on the shelf next to Spirit Tracks.
No. Hey, this was better than Spirit Tracks.
It was.
You know what, Tom? I've played worse games, but this was an exercise in frustration for me.
I think it's good to play. It's actually not bad playing one of these like 7 out of 10 games where you're like, I can see the good and the things it does well are pretty decent, and then it's like, but I'm not going to play it again.
I'll give it a 5.5.
I think the other thing,
And there's a lot of conversation around it, right? With all the uniqueness of it as well. I feel like it was a good game to talk about.
I think one thing you got to take into consideration, though, too, is the time in which it was released. We were still in this huge transitional period from PS1 to PS2 and figuring out what we could really pull out of those systems.
Totally.
You know, since it began development as a PS1 game, or at least the core concept began as a PS1 game. They made a massive switch halfway through.
All I'm saying is look at the Getaway and look at Project Eden and see which one pushed the PS2 more.
Oh, ouch!
No, I will reserve judgment down until I played it because
I'll admit that after that the 30th time that I played that first mission, I was willing to put Zelda 2 above this, but now that I've beaten it and I understand the mechanics more, like, yeah, this one's actually not that bad.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good to hear.
No.
As long as it wasn't bottom of the year.
I would personally, Tom, I will say yes, it is bad to play, but I enjoyed the story and it kept me going throughout, so I've played worse.
That's good. That's good. So we're giving
Are
it
you going to finish it, Dan, so you can say that you've got this one under your belt, another notch on the bedpost?
Nope.
Oh, well, then I'm going to constantly remind you that...
I have no desire to do the ship mission twice again.
So we give it like 2.5 out of 5 stars sort of thing?
Dan, let me tell you about the end then, as Hammond, or as Carter. So you essentially play through all the same missions, just on the opposite end of the spectrum. There's a couple that don't line up, but for like the second half of Carter's, you're a few steps behind Hammond. So you get to where Hammond was to kind of help clean up his mess or discover something else. But you get to the boat as I think he's already been there. That's the goofy part that doesn't really line up, is that you think that if he got there after Hammond, there'd be all the dead bodies and everything. But I think it's actually prior to it. But you get to the ship and you're supposed to, I was reading some strategies for this because I was getting really frustrated. And as you get up to the ship, you see the shipping crane picking up these barrels of explosives and setting them on the deck. And there's a whole slew of enemies on the other side of the deck. So they set the explosives down. A forklift driver comes over, picks them up, drives them really slowly over, sets one in front of each group of characters. And you're supposed to shoot across to blow those up, and it kills everybody on deck. But the free aiming is so bad that by the time you finally hit one of the barrels, everybody has come around to your side, so it's just futile. But you make it downstairs. The whole scene happens where Jolson turns Hammond over and they're all leaving. But that's the other thing too, the bomb that Jolson has. It's on a trigger. And once you let go of the trigger, you have 3 minutes before the bomb explodes. Well, that's the second part of the ship mission. So once you get down there, then the detonator is let go of, and you have 3 minutes to redo the mission going out.
Bear in mind that you can't sprint on this game.
Nope. And there's way more
yes,
people.
You can.
No, you can't.
What?
You cannot sprint.
Yes, you can.
No.
Circle.
Are you shitting me?
No.
There's no sprint. Don't do this to me, Tom.
You can run. You can... guys, look. I don't have time for this. Do you hear me? I don't have time for this. Like, how do you accelerate?
Annoying. Oh, it's so annoying.
I don't think you can.
Yes, you can.
No.
We can't. We can't.
Circle is sprint.
That's actually a pretty common button.
Yeah.
It's L3, guys. Everybody knows that.
I don't think you can, Tom.
Look it up. I was definitely sprinting around.
I noticed that he would occasionally start sprinting on his own, and I didn't know why.
But did you not
press
think
circle, I guess.
that was the button you were pressing?
No. He would just start running. Hold on here. I found some direct. I found the circle button. Nope. The circle button's function is simple. Walk up to a car's door either side and press the circle button to kick whoever is in that car out. Dan, open the manual. Let's see here.
Daniel's got the manual right there. I swear I was sprinting anyway.
Circle button, enter vehicle.
Right.
Press the circle button again to cancel. No mention of sprinting.
But are there any other buttons then that are sprint?
Well, apparently the X button is... No, Dan, go to the manual and look at that and see if it says X is drive.
The cross one next to square.
Character controls. Hang on.
I know you're used to looking at square. Mr.
X
Arc.
button, accelerate. Right analog stick, accelerate, foot brake, and reverse. So either or, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know why you decide to use the stick, Eric.
Can you read it?
It's because it's the first thing that I found that moved the car forward. And I'm like, well, I guess this is my life now.
God.
It was brutal. That was brutal.
I can confirm, Tom, that you've invented your sprint mode.
I'm pretty sure I sprinted around, but
You didn't.
if you can't find it, we'll agree to disagree.
Or, it's okay to be wrong sometimes.
No, just keep
I've never heard
affirming
that
that you're
from you.
right until people go away and leave you alone.
I'm going to be ignorant enough until you just stop bothering me.
Well, the Getaway Black Monday, you can crawl, jump, and climb in certain situations.
Oh, dear. Did this
I
game
know.
also get delayed 27 months?
It actually came out pretty late in the PS2 cycle. Oh, no, maybe not. 2000.
Is that a boy
I've
band?
got a sweet poster. I've got a sweet poster in here.
Oh, you should
Have you?
staple that to your wall like you've done with all your other posters.
That is cool.
I shall. It's also got the map of London.
Oh, that is
inside.
neat. I didn't realize it came with that. See, this game's great. It's even got the tourist bits at the bottom there. Like the Millennium Wheel, which is now called the London Eye.
I didn't know that was there back in the day.
Yeah, I think it was built in 2000. I think, along with the dome.
Millennium Dome in this one.
Well, it was built in 2000, but it's in Greenwich, which is probably greater than, was it 16 kilometers, Eric, you said, or something?
Yeah.
16 miles. Yeah. I didn't find it. Yeah, you're right about... did you ever see the Getaway 3 tech demo?
No.
No, I don't think it.
There is actually a Piccadilly Circus 2005 tech demo. I will put it in the chat. But yeah, you can basically look at the how that new game was supposed to look. Kind of a shame it never came to light
Sweet.
because it looked really cool.
Well, I can confirm that Blood and Truth is good fun, so give that a try.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that.
Gentlemen, shall we move on to some questions?
I think we shall. Tom, I will retract some previous angry statements about the Getaway. I was ready to give up, like ready to stop playing. But by the end of it,
Yeah.
it was a neat
It wasn't
experience. It wasn't terrible. It was just really frustrating to play.
I completely agree with that.
The mechanics
that's
could
a
use a
very
little bit of
fair
ironing
comment.
out, but
Yeah. We didn't talk about how the animation of going up and down stairs.
Oh boy, that was fun. Here you are, a trained killer, and you go up the stairs like you are doing the tire training exercises on football while also shitting your pants.
I thought he looked like he'd been rogered with something beforehand and he was a bit sore.
So
Yeah.
bad. And then when you go up the really thin rail, like if it's a really steep ladder, but it's not quite a ladder, it's the really steep stairs. He climbs up it and then he gets to the top and he drops his hands directly to his side and kind of does this like little goofy butt shimmy as he goes up the rest of the stairs. It's really concerning.
Yeah. It's a bit of a goofy walk cycle.
Yeah. Questions. If you want to send us any questions, we typically make a post on our Facebook page, facebook.com/groups/factory sealed podcast. Let's see. We've got some questions. First one from Chad Hagar. How long did it take you to understand the way this game shows you which way to go? I still never did. I don't think we talked about like what happens when you actually get there. When you get to your location, both blinkers start to flash.
Yeah, the hazard lights come on.
But it's just when you're in the general vicinity.
Yeah. It's usually it's highlighted by the fact that there's one really obvious building that's more detailed than the rest, or sometimes the screen just fades to black and the cutscene comes along. But yeah, it can be a bit hard to pinpoint exactly where you need to go. General directions are not its forte. Let's put it that way.
Could have used a nice little mini map, perhaps a
Yeah, that would
reticle.
have been nice.
Mark Marcheski, in this game, are you a driver or a driver?
You are a driver,
But you're on the wrong side of the road, so you're a revered.
But you're a driver and a footer.
Driver 82, crash your car and explode.
Let's see here. Do we have any actual questions?
Here's a question from Andrew Thorson. Why is Zelda 2 better than the Getaway?
Well, I initially thought it was, but it's not.
No, it's not. Zelda 2 is atrocious.
Cody Halverson, after playing this game, do you now better understand thoughts and motivations that led to Tammy Trailer Trash's life of liquor store crime? Oh, no, I won't.
I did listen to the last episode.
Yeah, we don't have any actual questions. They're all comments.
Oh,
Yes.
nice to get comments, though.
I have a question for you guys. This is not gaming related in the least, but for some reason, I was flipping through an old yearbook of mine and came across a photo of one of the proms that I went to, and it reminded me of the girl that I went to prom with and the one date we went on and how terrible it was. What's the worst date you've ever taken a girl on?
Oh, God.
There was that one where Tom dumped her in the lake.
Yeah. Had a great middle, but the end just tanked. Things got out of hand. This isn't going to work. Yeah, I had a really bad one. No, it wasn't actually that bad, but I remember taking a girl to, I barely knew her at all, and we went to a live band, which was the worst idea because you couldn't talk.
It's like going to a movie.
Yeah, it's just like not a good idea. But we found a table further back where I could just about hear, and I was kind of nervous, and I had a pint of beer, which thankfully was only about half full, but you can see where this is going. But I was kind of moving the glass around, like circulating it around the table because I was just had a nervous twitch, and boom, glass on its side, beer all over her, and like just covered. And you know how bad beer smells when it's on clothes. And she was pretty cool about it, but at the same time was like, well, now I smell like a pub. And
not going home with you tonight.
Yeah, the date kind of ended there. I think that was probably my worst one.
This is where the date ends.
It's not bad by
And then
most
he dumped her in the
accounts.
lake.
Well, let's go get you cleaned up.
Well, I guess you're going to have to remove them clothes. All part of the plan.
It's I suppose mine is it's not really a date, but when it was like when I was a teenager, there was this girl who was interested in me. I was interested in her, and I thought she was literally standing right in front of me and wanted to kiss me, and I thought it would be really cool to just walk off.
Oh my God.
It just left her there, and I don't know what was going through
Did
my
you
head.
think you were the Fonz or something?
Wait, so is this
No.
you kissed her
No,
and then walked
baby.
off?
No, didn't even kiss her. Just walked off. Don't know. I must have just panicked and just ran away.
Typical English. So
What
mine.
about
boy.
you,
And then she
Eric?
ended up going out with one of my friends.
Oh boy,
instead,
this
so that
is
was
this is
marvelous.
one of those things where you look back in at your youth and you're like, "Ooh, that's not good." So this girl transferred in our junior year, partway through the year, and she was really pretty. And I didn't really ever have a whole lot of interaction with her, but for some reason, I asked her to go to prom, and for some
Did you were you sitting there in your athletics tracksuit and asking her to tell her
this
about
is
Mega
this is after I had my red hair.
your ginger hair?
So for some reason, she said
I
yes.
could see how she couldn't resist. Jesus Christ.
For some reason, she said yes. And then it dawned on me, I should probably get to know this girl if we're going to go to prom together.
Yeah.
So we got done, like during the middle of towards the end of the winter, we had a freak snow day, like a really, really bad blizzard. And we all got to go home early. And I thought it would be a great time to say, hey, you want to hang out tonight? And she's like,
Yeah.
sure, okay. Now, let me tell you about the car I had at this time. I had I don't remember what year, I think it was like a 1993 Dodge Daytona turbocharged. I mean, it was a wildly unnecessary car for any high schooler. But boy, did it have some problems. One of which was it had vacuum brakes instead of piston brakes. So it ran off of a vacuum system.
Oh my God.
And sometimes the vacuum seal would come undone and you'd lose brakes. And
my God.
you just have to, like, you'd have to put all your weight on it to use whatever was left in that line to close the pistons to slow your car down.
Oh my God.
The other part, the neutral safety switch was loose, meaning
How were you alive?
I don't know.
Death trap.
Oh, dude, but this thing was fucking fast. So the neutral safety switch would fall off underneath the car. So you'd have to get out, plug it back in, get back in. It would happen at the most inopportune times. Also, most modern cars, they won't let you take the key out of the ignition, or even cars at that time, unless the car was in park. This one didn't have that issue. Like, you could turn the car off while it was still in drive and take the key out and get out. So all of those three issues coupled into what led to this horrible date. So not only is it horribly snowy out, she lives out in the middle of the country. So I'm like, I'll come pick you up. And so I drive out there, and I'm like, this is a really bad idea. I probably should not be driving. This is dangerous. Get to her house, park, go up, knock on the door, come back out to my car. My car won't start at all. Just nothing. And so you're going, well, this is great. Here I am to pick you up on our date. My car won't start. And then it starts snowing even more. I'm like, shit. The last thing I can't ask her, hey, can I just stay here because this is dangerous? And she's like, no, you know what? Let's take my car, because she had a Jeep. So we get in her car. As it's, you can barely even see past the hood of the car. And there's this really sharp corner, because she lived out by where my grandparents lived. I'm like, this corner is going to be bad. It is not going to be safe whatsoever. She's going way too fast for this corner. And something told me, brace for something. And sure as shit, we end up in a ditch. Spun around on the side, busted through one of the farmer's fences in the side of the ditch. I'm like, well, this is a terrible date. And somehow it still didn't end. So we ended up having to drag her car out of the ditch and went on to go to Blockbuster and rent some shit movie. And just, I look back at that and go, oh my God, no wonder we didn't ever take off. But she still went to prom with me.
See, I think that could have went the other way, and it could have been a bonding experience.
Nope, definitely wasn't.
I mean, the sensible answer would have been, right, we're stuck in the middle of a snowdrift, let's born in the car. Done.
Yeah, no.
I had another.
Oh, but even worse, I had to have her drop me off. Like, when the date was over, I just asked, like, she just left because my car was out at her house and I couldn't get it started. So I had to go out there with my mom the next day to get my car started. Found out that I just didn't put it in park. Had I just put it in park and started it,
God.
it would have worked.
What? What the hell?
Oh, dude, it was just a
God.
catastrophe of shit.
Take it out of
I
D.
had a.
It's stuck in D.
Stuck. Yeah, I can't not put it.
Hey, listen, this car's always in D. Never goes in P. Foot down, wheels up.
I had another really awkward situation.
Take it out of D, you muppet.
I had a really awkward situation with someone else, but it was not the actual date that was necessarily bad. It was at her house, and I'd taken a train, and it was pretty far from my house, and it got to the end, and it was nighttime, and I don't even think the last train was going to be running. Like, I was never going to really make it unless I drove there to the station, and so she says,
Well, yeah, disposing of bodies in a lake does take a while, so you
got to make sure you're outside the city.
That's okay. I'll ask my dad to take you. And I'm like, are you sure? And then, yeah, of course, like this, I've never met this guy. And so now all of a sudden he's being asked by his daughter, can you take this guy home? And he's pretty pissed off about it. And I'm like, I don't want to get in the car with a pissed off dad. So I remember being like, oh yeah, you can, we were getting our shoes on, and I said, like, yeah, you can take me to the station, but like, don't worry about taking me all the way home. Like, that's too far. And he just looked at me and he's like, oh yeah, I wasn't going to take you all the way home. And I was like,
You fucking
okay,
wanker.
okay.
Did he actually say that to you?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I was trying to be like just nice about it and like understand that I was really putting him out, even though it was just a 5-minute drive to the station. It was just that I've been through so many awkward situations with
that reminds
girlfriends'
me.
parents.
So, last one, I was a senior in high school, and there was this girl that I was really interested in, and she finally asked me, hey, do you want to, you want to come over and have dinner with my family? I'm like, sure. That sounds great. And over the course of the week, things were being planned out. And she would this was back before texting. So we had like AIM and all that fun stuff. So she would send me a message. She's like, hey, Dad wants to know if you like chicken. I'm like, sure, I'll eat whatever. And I'm sitting here going, fuck, I really don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to go to the parents' house and meet the parents. Like, I'm not really even dating you yet.
Yeah.
I hardly know you. Like, I want to get to know you. And here you are saying, I want to introduce you to my family. And then the day before or the day of, she sends me a message and she says, hey, Dad says we're going to, dinner's going to be at Applebee's tonight. So meet us there, or, meet there. And like, it was looking back on it, it was really vaguely worded. So I get dressed up and I head to Applebee's and I tell the hostess that I'm here to meet someone. He goes, oh yeah. You must be Eric. And she takes me to the back to a booth where just the dad is sitting.
Oh no.
And I sit down, like, okay, where's everybody else? And he goes, oh, it's just us tonight. I'm like, oh my God. And proceed to have the most awkward dinner I have ever had, with questions like, what are your intentions with my daughter? Like, well,
I was worried you were going to say that.
Apparently nothing now. And let me tell you what, boy, did it work. I see, as a dad now, I see exactly what he was doing. And I plan on doing that with my daughters. I immediately ceased any sort of attempt to
don't do it.
To court his daughter.
That poor girl.
So
she could have had some
did
of
he
all
have
of all
Did he
of
have
this.
a skinhead and a cigar?
No, so what's even
we're
funnier now is that my uncle is really good friends with this guy. And I told my uncle about it, and he just died. He's like, I have to go talk to this guy about that and let him know how much of an impact that had on you. So my new rule for my kids when they start to date is your boyfriend or whoever has to take me on the exact date that they're taking you on before you can go with them.
Oh my God.
Boy, did it work.
I last one from me, I had this one moment where I met the parents and mum was fine. Dad, I put my hand out for a handshake, looked at my hand, walked away. It was
He just looked at it?
Yeah, and then walked away.
Oh, God.
I'll never forget
Nice
it.
man.
I'll
Nice
never
man.
forget it.
Did you hold out the wrong hand? Did you have shit on your hand?
I think he just was like, I don't want you dating my daughter. Right?
You look like a serial killer.
Yeah, I was probably could have put
Sure, that's
I
the one
probably
I've seen
could
in
have
the
put the
papers,
fag out
putting people
first.
in the lake.
I'd prefer if my daughter doesn't end up in the lake.
Yeah. Why are you wearing trunks?
Just goggles on your head and everything.
A scuba diving kit and armbands.
What are those cinder blocks and that rope doing out there? She's going to wear some mafia boots tonight.
Just wearing a pair of Speedos, but with a shirt like partially off them, just says your journey ends here.
Yeah. Like an orange life vest with your journey ends here on the back.
Mind if I date your daughter? I'll treat her real nice.
Don't worry, there's a whistle to attract attention. And a little light. You might be in the middle of the Atlantic, but there's a little light you can use.
My first date with Christy was really bad too, because she was significantly old. Well, not significantly. She was 6 years older than I was. And here I thought I was really cool taking this 25-year-old out on a date when I'm 19. And I asked her where she wanted to go. I'm like, we'll go wherever you want. And she picked going mini golfing. Like, that's a great first date. You get to spend time and chat and hang out. So she's late to the date. I'm like, well, this is off to a great start. And then we get up there.
You like punctual people.
Oh my God, I love punctual people.
So that was a bad start.
Yeah. So we get up to pay, and I don't have any money. This place doesn't take cards, and I have no cash on me. And she looked at me, and I'm like, well, this is probably where this ends. She's like, oh, don't worry, I'll pay for it. I'm like, oh, this is so bad. She's going to tell all her friends about this. She's going to tell her parents. This is it. Ended up being a really good date and all that, but I felt so bad. Like we worked together and I didn't work the next day. I went and gave her money. I'm like, here, this is for the date last night. Like just having to do that was so demoralizing.
Yeah. Was it in coins as well?
Here is your 15 rolls of pennies.
Oh no!
Just appends the jar of quarters he's been collecting all his life.
Well, that one ended well though. At least that one had legs.
Here we are. So actually, I'd be really curious to see what some people post as their absolute worst dates they've been on.
Yeah, that would be good actually. If you feel like sharing that, stick it on Facebook.
I'm sure I've had other ones, but that car in the ditch. Like I look back at that and went, well, and I ran into that girl a couple years ago when I was visiting home. Like, oh boy, I wonder if she remembers that.
Still got that Jeep.
And for the longest time, I would drive around that corner and I'd see where that fence got buckled over for years. It just never got fixed. Like, just a stark reminder. Wow. So yeah, if you have a really embarrassing date story, just share it with us. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Let's see, guys. We've got the Mark of Cree coming up next.
I need to find a copy of that somewhere.
I've started it already.
Yeah,
it's
too.
quite significantly violent.
Dan, it is 75p in CEX.
Ooh.
I can't.
Right, I think I can stretch to that.
I can't find it anywhere near that in Canada, unfortunately. But I'll try and find it.
Should have picked it up while you're over here.
I know. I said this to myself this morning.
I think the rest of our year is pretty well ironed out, pretty solid. We've got Mark of Cree, then some Project Eden game nobody's ever heard of, Eternal Darkness, Luigi's Mansion, Super Mario Galaxy, and then some Square Simulator, Metroid Prime, and then some knockoff Resident Evil game.
Hey, it's actually a pretty strong rest of the year, isn't it?
Yeah,
By the looks.
yeah. It's looking good. I'm really excited for Mario Galaxy. I had to.
Me too.
I
Especially
popped
since I
that
never
in
played it.
to cleanse the palate from the Getaway and Spirit tracks. I'm like, oh, I can't wait for this.
Fair.
I just have to
Never played it.
slog through Eden.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you Muppet, you're going to enjoy Project Eden.
This episode was made possible by all of our wonderful Patreon supporters, with an extra special shout out to the following: Santos Lopez, Zach Foley, Jeremy Sanford, Miles Prower, Thomas McGrew, Jeremy Lucas, Nicholas Bradley, Jordan Lawfrey, Richard Cuttress, Chad Schaefer, Phil Gartside, Stephanie, James Hall, Samuel Chun, and Sarah Irvine.